everyone, Old School Pokemon here, back again with the PokeFlipz podcast, joined by my usual co-host, Mr. H2O himself. And today we got a nice in-person guest with Mr. Walrus.
How are you guys doing today? I took your line because you weren't saying it quick enough.
He's in eBay Live mode where he has to stretch out syllables.
Yeah. $1. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm coming off the high. I was at some low points. I mean, going to the game Monday, watching them get wrecked pretty good after a 2-period lead, and being down 2 goals twice in that game. So coming off a high from last night's win. Pokemon Sphere, everything's going pretty well for me. I know you have an exciting weekend in the Pokemon Sphere. You want to let everyone know, both of you, like, why are you guys in person? Where are you both at? What's up?
Well, as you can tell by the couch, we're on the casting couch, so
No, not at all.
No, we got so tomorrow is actually 1 year on eBay Live. So we got a really exciting eBay Live happening tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Be there or be square. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm a little nervous with how much good stuff I have, but there's a lot of good stuff. I'm gonna be doing all the Sword and Shield boxes, 36-pack lots of like the specialty sets. Got a PSA 10 Moonbreon, PSA 10 Giratina, and then those are the biggest highlights.
Plushies. We're running plushies.
Oh, and some used plushies with a bunch of drool stains on them.
That's exciting. You're doing an entire run of, I mean, separately, but you're doing like Sword Shield base, booster box, all the way up through to the end also, right?
Yes. Yep. I think the booster boxes will do well. I'm a little nervous about Sword and Shield base and Rebel Clash. I'm really curious to see where those end up, because those are semi-expensive boxes, but they're such garbage sets. I'm wondering if they're going to do well or what's going to happen with those.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You're getting a push from eBay, right?
Yes, that'll be a extra push notification stream. So hopefully get a whole bunch of people in there, and got Walrus keeping everyone in control. Being the in-person mod.
What's your strategy as far as, like, I know you normally do 2 hours worth of auctions and then you do rips afterwards. Like, what are you putting in first when you've got that big room full of people that just click that notification?
So with the push notifications, obviously you get a ton of people in there at the beginning. I don't want to run like the best stuff at the very beginning, just because sometimes pricing gets a little crazy, and occasionally you'll get a cancellation on like the first like 2-3 items. So I'll start out with like some normal cards, and then once the kind of initial wave dies down, that's when I'll start doing some of the bigger boxes, some of the bigger cards. The Moonbreon will probably be like a half hour into the stream. That's usually when like the peak is. But I have, what do we have? We have like 100 good things between graded cards, single cards, boxes. The goal is to sell that stuff. I think that'll take about 3 hours to sell through that stuff. And then once all that stuff's gone, it's going to be like just like a regular stream for however long people want to go. As long as we have 2 people bidding still, we'll go all night.
So you have enough packs to rip for hours?
There aren't going to be any pack rips. Just auctions.
Oh, okay. Okay. So a little bit different than normal.
Yeah.
Has eBay added like a tip feature yet? If people want to maybe see Nick or Walrus take their shirt off, start spinning that around, or any kind of those features been added in the beta yet?
If it goes for $1, I'll take my shirt off.
Nobody bid. Hey, we talked about a month ago. So everyone, Old School Pokemon's live tomorrow night. Nobody bid. Whoever bids first, $1, let them win it, and then we're gonna have a good show for the rest of the night.
30 minutes in, shirts come off. It's a show.
That's a surprising card because I bought that card. I want to say it was, when was that? That was it was the beginning of May, so it was like 3 weeks ago at this point. I paid $1,200 for it, which at the time there were sales like $1,250, $1,300. So I was fully expecting to buy it and just use it as advertising to get people in the stream and probably lose, hopefully break even, maybe lose a little bit of money on it. But now with the pricing of that card, it's like $1,500-$1,600. So I think I'll definitely at least break even on it.
Yeah, you paid like 95%, but then it went up like 15-20%. It's wild, this market that we're in.
It's absolutely insanity.
Yep. Yeah, but that'll be exciting. I am scheduled for a live stream currently. I know Ponga had some technical difficulties in his new house, so I'm not entirely sure if I'll be live or not on Java's channel. But if not, I'll definitely pop in to check it out for sure. Maybe I'll try to buy that $1 Moonbryon.
It's gotta be quick.
Yeah.
Do you even know how to access eBay Live over there?
I'll get the push notification. When I see a push notification, it's easy because you just click it. But like otherwise, it is tough. It is tougher than it should be, to be honest.
Yes. It really is. It really is.
Do you get any at all, Dan, from like other streams when they push them?
I got like, it's probably a month ago, maybe a little bit more than that now. But when Weedle got a push notification a little bit back, he wasn't even expecting to get one for that stream. And I saw it, so I went in there for a little bit. But I have eBay. I have most apps on my phone just like muted, where they won't make my phone vibrate or tone or anything. But they'll do. My phone is just constantly flooded with like silent notifications. So a lot of times I'm just moving away all notifications, not really knowingly, especially this week. So I have tons of auctions going for the final wave of the vault auctions. I'm going to be getting bid notifications left and right. They're all silenced. They don't like alert my phone. They don't wake up my phone, but they go there as like a push notification. So I'll just be like clearing out everything in mass, not really realizing what I'm ditching. But I feel like the live notifications do come through, but I don't get them unless they're like broadly pushed by eBay, because I don't think I follow anybody on my account.
Well, thanks for the support. Unsubscribe for your YouTube channel
Well,
up there.
You'd be the last one I'd follow. I don't want to get spammed every 6 hours when you go live. I mean, come on. You're going to be killing my phone battery with all those notifications.
I guess you got a point there.
Yeah, I'll have to look. Maybe I follow a couple, but not really intentionally, not really knowingly. Because I don't even know how to get to your save sellers, which is how many save sellers I have. I'm the same way. Yeah, I've seen it before. I feel like I do have a list of a few people, maybe like coin people that I was buying off of years ago, a decade ago now. But I don't use that area of eBay. Like eBay is so bad for navigation.
Yeah.
Like so clunky. I usually just Google. It's like, how do I block a buyer on eBay? Boom, and then I go and I do it. Because if you try to like just navigate there directly from eBay, it's impossible to find almost anything. It's crazy.
It really is.
But yeah, I guess just to let everyone know what's going on, as always, Q&A. We have 95% of our live chat on screen with us, so it'll be interesting to see how we progress through here. I think the chat will be a lot slower. I think I won't fall so far behind. We will be missing out on hundreds of great memes in the live chat, but hopefully we get nice little quips here and there on screen in person.
Doesn't matter. Did like 90% last week. I never got my validation. I'm done.
But yeah, as always, feel free to leave questions. We have a few topics we definitely want to cover, some things that were going on in the past couple of weeks since we had PokeFlipz. But yeah, really looking forward to the live stream tomorrow, potentially my live, and where do you want to start? Anything further you want to go on your live stream, or anything else to cover, like 1 year in retrospect on eBay Live?
No, I think we covered that one good enough. No, it's been a lot of fun. Hard to believe it's hard to believe it's already been a year, but at the same time, it also feels like it's been an eternity already. So I don't know how to feel about that. But no, I'm having a great time with it. Definitely going to continue it into year 2, 3, 4, 10, 20.
Chill.
But I think Walrus is actually no. He's our second. Never mind. I was gonna say first duplicate guest.
I think Mr. ZNG Enterprises in the chat. I think he was our first one.
First in person though.
First in person guest.
Yeah, have we ever done? I mean, you were on my channel for a live, but I don't think we've ever done any guests in person on a PokeFlipz. I don't think we have. And you didn't want to come out here to do a true in-person live. Yeah. Yeah, it would have been. I mean, with Orlando next week, if it was tied to an event, if it was tied to like a Collecticon or something, it would have been easier to justify. But
it would have been 1 year anniversary eBay Live.
Yeah.
Hey,
but
come at Gen Con.
Gen Con.
No shot.
Yeah, I forgot.
Gen Con. There's actually a good topic of conversation. Let's pivot right into Gen Con because I did want to bring that up. Yeah. So you're going. Do you know what day yet? Do you know what day, what time you're doing an event? I guess you want to let people know what you're doing there.
I don't know the day and time. It's either going to be Friday or Saturday. But eBay Live is going to have a presence at Gen Con, which is happening in Indianapolis, August 1st through 4th. So Wednesday through Sunday. And so I'm gonna do an in-person eBay Live at the eBay booth at Gen Con, which will be really exciting. I'm super excited about that. Thinking probably gonna do the chase card of each Pokemon set from XY base all the way through whatever Scarlet and Violet set we're at the time.
Good idea.
Yes, I came up with that all by myself. No, I was originally thinking do all the tag team alt arts and all the Sword and Shield alt arts, or do one card from each set. And then Walrus suggested start at XY and go to current. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I think that would be a really cool stream because then you could go into like the history of each set, talk about the other cards, talk about when the set came out. Talk about like what sealed product's doing right now, all that good stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun. But I completely forgot Charlotte was happening that same exact weekend. I thought it was the weekend afterwards, so I didn't think there was gonna be any trouble. But I didn't realize Charlotte was that same weekend until you messaged me. And then when I found out about that, it was I'm 100% on board with eBay Live. So not gonna be able to. I think what'll end up happening is I'll do if I can do the Gen Con Live Friday, I'll do CollectCon Saturday and Sunday. If the Gen Con Live is Saturday, I'll come to Charlotte for Sunday for Wonders or what? Yeah.
Ooh.
So. Of the last 2 years Charlotte Collecticons, what has been your highlight of Charlotte Collecticon? Which day and which location?
That's going to be the toughest thing. Is Rusty's house on Friday is always the highlight of Charlotte Collecticon.
Rusty, we know where you rank, Rusty. I know you listen to a lot of these. You rank somewhere. We don't know exactly where, but we know one thing that's above you now. eBay Live. It's above all of us.
Poor Nick. No heavy WotC packs this year. I feel for you.
But But yeah, no, I think that'll be a really cool opportunity. I'm excited for that one. It is going to be tough missing, because Charlotte's always such a good Collecticon. Rusty's house kicking it off on Friday, and then there's always a ton of people who go to Charlotte. So Charlotte's always a good time. So it'll be tough missing most of Charlotte.
Yeah, us East Coasters, especially us Northeasters, we don't get a whole lot. We do have Edison, New Jersey added this year,
Yeah.
but I think part of the reason Charlotte pulls quite a few is because it's the only East Northeast type area, and it just generally pulls a lot of people. But then also like Rusty's, and the thing is, it's like anything else. When you get some amount of people going, more people FOMO, more people want to go. So it seems like every year there's just one that like kind of turns out to be far and above the most attended of at least the people in our little community. I think Chicago, though, is still going to trumpet. So I believe you're going to be there for that one. You're there right now. So that'll be exciting, at least.
I don't know if I'll want to see Walrus again. I might skip Chicago, too.
He's already taken me to Gen Con, so that's hard to believe.
If eBay Live puts on an event anywhere in the world on Chicago Collecticon weekend, Nick will bail for it. What exactly is Gen Con? Like, I've definitely heard of it before, but
I don't know exactly. I've been watching some videos of people like walking around. I watched a video on what the eBay booth looked like last year. They had a really official. They had like a castle built in the convention center for the eBay Live booth. They had the Roka robot. They had some like high-end cards. So they're really official setup. It's not like it's not like a Collecticon where it's just a bunch of vendors with tables. It's a lot more. It reminds me a lot of like a Comic-Con type thing.
It's specifically around tabletop gaming, though, is what it says. So
yeah.
Not just TCGs, CCGs, but actual like proper board games too, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I definitely heard of it, but I was not super aware of like what it was exactly. That'll be interesting though. Interesting to branch out a little bit. I think there would be a decent Pokemon presence there. But yeah, will be interesting.
I mean, he's dressing up in a Ninetales onesie. So
there we go.
It'll be fun.
I'll do that if you dress up as Misty.
Yeah, that'll be interesting though. I was actually talking with them as well, and they mentioned Gen Con and they mentioned the dates, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. But and right as I started saying it, that's Charlotte Collecticon weekend. So I don't know. I don't know. I've been kind of in the back of my mind wondering, thinking, trying to plan when I'm going to make my debut onto the eBay Live space. My multiple hesitances around it. I want to be able to be consistent and regular once I start. I don't want to just go live tonight and then have it be 2 months, 3 months until my next one, whatever. I want to know I have everything in place for when I start to do it. And a big hang up for me personally is the fact that it's still in beta and that I can't have other people stream for me on their own credentials. The fact that they would have to be on my own account and all that. So I don't know. We'll have to see when and how my entrance into eBay Live goes. It's definitely not going to be like Nick's. Nothing like it. Not going to be diving in head first, casting aside everything else in my life aside from eBay Live.
What's your fear in sharing your credentials, though?
I do a lot of consignments, and obviously there's some amount of trust needed to share my eBay account, even through multi-user account access. But when I have 6 to 7 figures of not only my own stuff by it now, other people's stuff, there's just not even for them to do anything maliciously. Obviously, I physically have the inventory, but so I guess when the eBay vault is done, it will be less of a concern. The main concern with the eBay vault is if anything ever happened, say they got hacked, say they got phished, whatever, eBay vault sales are final. There was one time that I mispriced a consigner card by about $800 too cheaply, and it instantly sold. And I had no like, I was kind of torn. I probably wouldn't have canceled it anyways. I paid out the consigner in full for what it should have sold for. We don't even know if it likely wouldn't have sold if I had priced it properly. It definitely wouldn't have sold so quickly. But imagine if I had $1 million worth of cards in the eBay vault, and somehow the credentials got compromised, and then someone lowered every price to $10 and they all sold. It's like I could probably call eBay. I could probably get someone to step in and like realize something crazy happened and get them canceled. But I wouldn't even allow the opportunity for that to happen. So once eBay Vault's gone, though, I mean, I'll have everything in-house. That risk, I guess, would be gone. In the event that something like that happened, I could just not honor the sales. It would destroy my feedback, destroy my eBay account, but it wouldn't cost me $1 million. So, I mean, that would be better. But that was the number one hesitancy for it. Other than that, yeah, I guess that's the main. Maybe that's the main and the soul, the only one. But that's really huge. I mean, that's with Nick. It's like, I mean, obviously you and him have a good trusting relationship and all that, but he didn't have that liability. He didn't have that liability, that issue present, right? Because he's almost all eBay Live, and it's all like lower end stuff, relatively speaking, and not so much money tied up in the eBay vault in consigner cards.
Yeah, you really can't go much lower than 99 cents.
Yeah. I mean, if Walrus found a way to just completely liquidate 90% of the inventory, like that would be a good thing. If I had someone that did that with, and again, not even talking about like I'm gonna be working with streamers that I couldn't trust. It's just once you, and then I don't know how it works with you guys, but like, don't you run into issues with like one of you logging in, the other logging in, and then two-factor authentication, or not really?
Not that. One thing we did find was if we're both, because Walrus does I sent all my singles to Walrus. So he's shipping all those, and I'll ship all the eBay Live stuff. And so if we both try and bulk print at the same time, mine will always go through. He gets an error, though, and has to redo it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I've heard the things with the bids, and I've heard there's definitely something to be said about getting in early and getting that established customer base and all that, getting the familiarity, getting the face time. I'd really rather go in though when it's an actual usable product. I would rather just have it be out of beta, ready to go, on top of having the MUAA access. Just having like a finalized product to use instead of a clunky beta.
We are cute.
Yeah, but if you wait for it to get out of beta, you're going to be like 90 years old at that point.
Yeah.
Now, in some ways they have done a lot of improvements. In some ways they've made it worse. Like from the buyer perspective, it seems like they've made it worse. But on the back end, it is a lot better now. But they still have a decently long ways to go. I've been on Whatnot a decent bit lately, just like checking out Whatnot streams and stuff like that. And Whatnot has it like down pat. Their whole like user interface looks so good. There's no delay in bidding. eBay's gonna get there at some point. They just need to buy Whatnot. That's what they need to do.
Yeah. That would be interesting. I kind of doubt that they would do that either which way, but it would be interesting.
I didn't realize how big Whatnot's gotten. Because I hadn't been on there in years, but I've been on there lately, and there's so many streams happening all the time, so many different categories. It's wild how much stuff is happening on there nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. It would be interesting. I doubt we'll ever get the data. I guess you could you could roughly estimate it if you went through eBay Live. I mean, just add up all the streams. Though on Whatnot, you can see live concurrent viewers. On eBay, you actually can't. The number that you see there is like the total viewership.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's a reason that they're, because if you could scroll through and just total up, like probably a tiny fraction of what Whatnot has. I'd be shocked if it was 1%, to be honest, just from the little bit that I've seen. Comparing
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like on eBay, they're still like usually like 4 a.m. up until 11 a.m. There's not a single person live. So that might be your opportunity, Dan. Just start your streams at 4 a.m.
6 in the morning.
Hey, I mean, whatever my streamers want to do when I get that set up. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like everything I have going on just with the eBay vault closure, I had mentioned probably July 1st would be like the earliest I would consider. But I don't know that they'll be there. I don't know that they'll be ready, even if I'm ready for July 1st. Hopefully, seems like when you want something to happen quickly, it takes forever, right? This whole eBay live beta. And then when you kind of like, whoa, pump the brakes, slow down. I want to get the last of this before it's gone. eBay vault. It's like they start talking about it, and then within weeks they're wrapping it up and closing it out. And man, they're not waiting for anything on that.
No, that's coming quick. I was surprised because when PK did his live with Nat.
Were you in that live, Dan, with Nat?
I can't remember. Sounds familiar.
When he was talking about how they're gonna launch it to Collectors Club members in June, and then later on it'll get further opened up and stuff. I was thinking, okay, so that'll probably get pushed back a little bit, and then they'll do a couple months with that before they completely open it up. So I was thinking like end of summer was when the vault was going to end. So for them to come out with that email a few days after Nat came on, saying the vault's going to be over in June, that was wild. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I was actually scheduling a bunch of vault auctions last night, and now when you're within the vault, when you go in, there's a new pop-up that says like, hey, the 20th is the last day you get the list, and the longest auction you can do is like 10 days, so naturally everything will be done by the 30th, and it's like June 2nd, I believe. June 2nd will be your last day to ship stuff back to yourself free. So if you don't ship it back by June 2nd, there will be at least a few week period where it sounds like your cards are just kind of like frozen. Your cards are just frozen there. They're going to transfer over to the the PSA vault. How I understand it is, though both are in Delaware, they are physically different locations. I think PSA might utilize the eBay vault for a little bit longer, but it sounds like by the end of it, all the assets that remain will be transferred over from the eBay vault physically into the PSA vault. And whether it's mid-June, late June, we don't really know. But me personally, the route that I'm taking, both with my own cards and consignor cards, I'm taking everything out. I probably will, though, when it launches. Maybe I'll leave like 5 or 10 things of my own in. I'm still a little bit torn. But I want to take almost everything out, though I do want to be one of the first ones to test the PSA vault experience. Whether it's a couple, maybe I'll leave like 10 of my own cards. I'll run 5 Buy It Nows, 5 auctions, just to get a feel for it, see how it looks, see how the PSA back end goes that integrates with it, see how payouts work, and just so I can share a video of my experience with that. Because I think we've already talked about it a time or two, but there are applications there. There are potential applications there. As much as it sucks that the eBay vault is closing, we're losing what would have been 3% fees on 3% buyer's premium on high-end sales. I mean, now PSA Vault's going to be 7%, but the other side of that, the thing that we're gaining is sub 250 we get now. We get sub 250. We actually get all the way down sub 100, 16% as opposed to the 12, 13% you pay. Like, it feels like there could be applications there, especially throwing back to what James used to do, Consignment Plus. If you can send the cards to PSA as you would any other submission, and then instead of getting them back, listing them, fulfilling them yourself, just, hey, send them to my PSA vault, boom, ship them, sell them, be done. Be interesting.
Yeah, hopefully they get to a point where they do the like Consignment Plus stuff, and you can just send cards just however, and they do the form and all that stuff. That would be the ultimate goal.
No chance.
The day that you don't have to enter them is the day that PSA goes back to a 14 million card backlog.
Yeah, that is. I can see that because I think they could, because people would pay a premium to have them fill out the submission form. They could clean up doing that. They would have to hire a lot more people, but that could be something where they make a lot more money.
You'd think that they're at least thinking about it. You'd think that they'd consider it because, and they have these numbers. We don't have these numbers. How much of their customer service bandwidth is taken up by people who have entered cards incorrectly? Like if you could get a handful of experts that could handle the actual entering of information, that would be great for them, right? Like instead of having to, their R&D department, like, oh, this is the wrong variant, especially on some of the sports stuff. Some of the crazy sports stuff with like all these different parallels and this and that. And I know Magic has tons of different parallels. Pokemon, it feels like in the past couple of years we've gotten so many. I mean, you have the same card that's like the regular one, then the alternate art, then the rainbow, then the whatever else. In sports, there's like 30 variants of a single card at times. Like we have it nowhere near like what they have it. So if they had experts on their end, you think they could save, again, charge a premium. And you think they could also save themselves a little bit of hassle and headache on the customer service end when people enter things incorrectly, or the R&D department, wherever that would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be. I think PWCC actually. I think PWCC actually, not with PSA, but as far as I understand it, with CGC and SGC. I think you can just send them, like you could just send them. I still have this on my desk because I've not gotten through it. I could send them these 1,000 cards, just like YOLO them, no entry, no nothing, and they would handle all that. Like whether someone at PWCC is doing it, or whether someone further at SGC and CGC is the one that's doing it. Like mechanically, I don't know how that works, but it is a thing there. And if it were ever to be a thing at PSA. If James were to bring it back, like there's a lot of demand out there for that service. A lot of people, like, we're so deep into this that we really take for granted how much the general public kind of fears the unknown that is grading. And any step that makes it more convenient like that can really dramatically increase the demand for grading. Oh
yeah, for sure.
James said he's bringing it back too.
He did mention in his video, was that yesterday? I think it was. He's looking into it. And James, please just charge more for it. Like how he was losing money on that, how he was not, like, please, James, bring it back. Charge more money for it. Like that's how you control demand, right? You control demand by increasing the price, figure out what your supply is, figure out what your capacity is, and then just charge to suit. Start out high. You can always bring it down lower if you don't get in as many as you want to. But how you could ever, and I know some of it was like on the payment end, people ghosting, not paying their bill because they sent absolute trash. So you have to have a little bit of a little bit of oversight. You have to have a little bit of like, whoa, pump the brakes. Maybe we don't send all this Dragon Ball Z score bulk or whatever it is you're trying to submit. Maybe we collect up front on ones that are trying to do that. But yeah, he did a lot of volume through that service. I know he shared numbers on his videos before. I don't remember exactly, but tens of thousands of cards, I believe, in a relatively short span.
That's wild. Because yeah, it was only a couple months. Maybe it was like 6 months, but it wasn't that long.
Yeah. I mean, come on, James, just make $5 a card. Charge public rate plus $5, and you'll still get a lot. I think you'd still get quite a few cards. So yeah, that covers the eBay vault thing, PSA vault. Are you intending to do anything with that off the bat, or are you just gonna keep your head down, stay in your eBay live lane?
Yeah. No, I hardly did anything with the eBay vault. So PSA vault, I'll definitely not do anything with.
How about you, Walrus? Are you allowed to speak about? I think your employer does allow you to do your own thing, right? On the side, you're not old school Pokemon exclusive. You're able to do a little bit of your own flipping on the side.
No, I don't do the vault. Like now, I've switched where everything I have, I just sell to Nick as his inventory. So like as I get returns, I'll just sell it to him directly at whatever percentages, and then he'll just run them live, whatever it is. So I'm exclusively almost like just selling to him.
Nice to have a buyer ready to go at all times.
I don't have to look or list or anything.
Instant liquidity. You gotta love it.
And then like grading this too. So like you're just getting rid of something that's not gradable because he can run it or whatever. So
how's your eBay Live consignment thing going? It's been a few weeks of that now, right?
So it's been. Has it been? I don't think it's been 2 weeks yet. It might. Maybe Monday will be 2 weeks. That's been going really well, actually. I've had. What do I have? I have 12 different people who have sent cards in to consign. Some people did like 5 cards. Some people did 20 to 30. 2 people did 125-ish. So there's a good amount of cards that I'm getting in, and I do really like the idea of having the consignments because it gives me the opportunity to run different stuff. I don't know if it's just because like I'm with my eBay Live inventory all the time, seeing it day in and day out. But for me, it seemed like it was getting repetitive, the stuff that I was running. It was different cards, but it'd be like 10 WotC Hollows every night, and then it'd be like 10 or like 2 or 3 alt arts. So it was starting to get repetitive in my eyes. But now with the consignments, it's stuff that I don't normally sell. So it gives a nice little variety into the streams. But that's been going really well. And all those 12 people came from talking about it in the live, doing one Instagram post and one Instagram story. I haven't advertised it at all since then, just because I knew the anniversary stream was going to be coming up, and I like to do the consignments Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So when this is done and I get back home, I'll start doing more Instagram stories and see if I can get a few more in.
Oh, so you're running them prime time. You're giving them Friday and Saturday night slots with the consignments?
Yep.
Nice.
Obviously, like the lower end stuff, I'll run Monday, Tuesday, every night. But anything higher end, I'll run Friday, Saturday night. Like next week, sneak peek for next week's stream. Really curious to see where this one goes. I've got a sealed stamp box set. So that'll be interesting to see. Last week I did it was a PSA 10 Celebrations Charizard. That one went for $190. So I was happy with that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've had Celebrations Charizards to some extent on my eBay for the past couple years now. I think mine's up through daily deal, so it's kind of like subsidized a little bit. I think it's listed at like high 170s, maybe 180. So I don't even know what they're going for in general, but I sell several of them a week lately. It's been kind of picking up, so the card must be ticking up again a little bit with all the alt arts doing what they're doing and everything. Like the 20th reprint of base Charizard is also ticking up a little bit, I guess. You love to see it.
It is wild what's happening with Sword and Shield right now. I was on my flight over here this morning. I was on TCG Player, buying a bunch of like the what were a couple weeks ago cheaper alt arts that have all like doubled in price. And then I was looking into Crown Zenith singles as well, and it's crazy how expensive that stuff is now. But I bought some more of it with the 10% off coupon. or 10% store credit, whatever. And hopefully it keeps going the way it's going. My plan is just to hold on to it and use that for live inventory in a few years.
We got a happy customer of the consignment service here, I think.
Oh, I love it,
Thrifty 2 weeks ago, we had her on, and I think she mentioned she was going to be getting some stuff over to you for that.
Did I even announce the? I don't know if I had the consignments yet. Maybe
I might have announced it that morning or the night before. I feel like it was announced right around last PokeFlipz.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly though. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I forget. All the days just blend together into one long day.
Yeah, they do.
Did you buy anything on TCG Player today? Are you planning to?
I didn't. So I bought a couple really big collections lately, and I still haven't made it all the way through those. I've been really swamped the past couple days. Like, eBay Vault is so tedious for creating listings. Like, say you have 300 buy it now listings in your store that you want to send to auction, and you want to space them 1 minute apart. On regular eBay, that's literally 2 minutes. I could send 300 items to auction with a couple clicks, space the intervals 1 minute apart, boom, done. I recently did that. Most went live last night, some go live Sunday night, and they all end the following Sunday. It's 1 by 1. So you can bulk end them. So in bulk, I ended like a couple hundred eBay Vault listings. But when you're creating them, you have to create them 1 by 1. And eBay is just laggier. eBay has more, eBay Vault has more like dialogue you have to click through. And it's just so tedious. So hours each night for the past couple nights getting everything ready for this weekend, the auctions to launch. So very glad to have that done. Very glad that like so many consigners were interested in just clearing out auctioning. I mean, I still have hundreds of cards to bring back and either roll them into whatever my new consignment service is going to be or send them back to the consignor. So busy couple weeks here. Paul George fan wants to know if Walrus only has one arm. Hey, we need a hand check. Where are they? Oh, man. But yeah, if anyone has questions, as always, feel free to leave them in the chat. We have no queue, no backlog of questions, I don't think. We did talk about Whatnot earlier. I guess I started this and I forgot to talk about it like more in depth. But yeah, PokeChef wanted to know thoughts on Whatnot, general thoughts. Compared to eBay Live, it's just a lot more smooth. It's a lot more, obviously, it's been around longer. It's more established. It has the viewership. It's a lot cleaner as far as just interface, bidding, probably selling side too. Just everything is cleaner because it's been around longer. But as far as like the drama and things go, obviously Whatnot has a lot more sellers. So proportionally speaking, it's going to have more issues, more drama just inherently because there's more activity. But I don't have a good feel for, and maybe Nick, you might have more commentary on this. Does eBay Live have more strict rules, more strict enforcement? Do you think that, say Whatnot were to pause as of today and say eBay Live over the next 3 years just continue to go on and grow and got to the size that Whatnot is, would eBay have just as many issues as Whatnot? Or are there certain things that they're doing to prevent turning into Whatnot as far as like the whatever the negative things that come from Whatnot are?
They do have those rules in place, like no mystery items, no gambling aspects, all that stuff. But in terms of monitoring the streams and like catching people doing that stuff, they do need to get better with that. Because as more and more sellers get on there, and if one seller starts doing mystery items and eBay doesn't catch on to it, other sellers are going to start doing it. And it's going to turn into a massive problem.
Yeah.
So right now, I think I don't know exactly because obviously on Whatnot you can see like Whatnot employees have like mods have like it's like a video game controller next to their name. So you can kind of see who from whatnot is in the streams, and they have a lot more of those usernames popping up. Whereas on eBay, I don't. Maybe some people are keeping an eye on the streams and not typing in chat, but I don't think. I think they do need to get better with that. Right now, it's small enough where they can keep it under control, but I do think whatnot keeps a better eye on the streams. But I think eBay will do a better job of enforcing those types of rules. Just because Whatnot's obviously an official company, but eBay's a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
They have a lot more on the line than Whatnot does.
On Whatnot for the tipping feature, does the streamer keep it all, or does Whatnot keep a cut?
I have no idea on that.
I didn't even know there was a tipping feature.
Yeah, you can tip.
I would assume Whatnot gets a percentage.
I'd imagine it's just like YouTube or like Twitch, where there's a decent cut taken out by the platform itself. I don't think Whatnot would facilitate moving money for free, right? Like there's got to be some percentage there, you would think.
Yeah, there's got to be something, but I had a meeting with eBay Live couple days ago, and we were kind of talking the differences between eBay Live and Whatnot, and I brought up the user interface is a lot nicer on Whatnot. It's a lot more streamlined on Whatnot, but the kind of counterpoint to that I brought up was Whatnot is exclusively live streams. That's their entire business. Yep. eBay Live is not even 1% of what eBay's making. So eBay is doing so many other things that what's their motivation to focus so much more effort on these live streams? Obviously, it's a really big deal for me and Weedle and everyone else who streams on eBay Live. But for eBay overall, it's something that they want to improve and want to do long term, at least I think. But it's not something that's super pressing that they need to solve right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic because some amount of growth in eBay Live would presumably take away some consumer dollars from like traditional auctions, traditional buy it now. So you need to be mindful as a company. And like PSA probably had this consideration when they bought SGC. eBay probably had this consideration when they bought TCG Player. You need to be conscious a little bit of like not making this other aspect too good, be like just solely cannibalizing the other part of your own business, right? Like if eBay Live were to grow revenue on eBay live streams by $10 billion, but $9 billion came out of it out of traditional eBay, it's like, what are we really doing here, right? Mm-hmm. How do you grow it, but purely from that different, ideally you capture an entirely new user base that wasn't formerly on eBay. And how do you go about doing that? Like, interesting ideas, interesting questions, and I have no idea how they tackle that. But one thing that's always interesting is like we're so intertwined in this, we're so wrapped up in this, we would never see, if any, the advertising that they do to get the normal consumer out, right? Because like we're in the YouTube videos, we're in the Discords, in the forums, wherever, Instagram, and so we're just so wrapped up in it. Like maybe we take for granted, maybe they are doing more to pull people in, but it feels like they're not doing much, right? Like I don't really know. I've not really seen heard much about like eBay Live pushed elsewhere, but how would I? Because I'm so in all this. I don't know.
Speaking of being ingrained, no offense whatsoever to anyone who said they hadn't, but I was auctioning a square cut Ninetales from the base set that was CGC graded on one of my lives, and the back of the card said it came from the TCA Gaming Rusty collection. And so I was talking about Rusty and his collection and how big of a seller he is, and there were a few people in the live who were like, "Who's Rusty?" And I thought they were joking. I thought everyone knew about Rusty, but they were actually dead serious. They had never heard of him. So that it just goes to show like how big Pokemon is. There's people, there's like huge YouTubers and Instagram accounts that I've never even heard of that are like massive into Pokemon. And there's other people who I think everyone knows Rusty, and yet there's still people out there who don't know him.
BB doesn't know.
BB doesn't know. NestTC doesn't know. No, it's funny. It's like amongst like, if you take every consumer of Pokemon, everyone that goes to their LGS, buys a pack, everyone that plays in a game, everyone, if you polled everyone in Pokemon, any involvement whatsoever, less than 1% of people would know who Rusty was. Like far less than 1%. That's how huge this is. But if you talk to anybody in our space, like in the YouTube space, in the eBay space, like everyone knows who he is. And most people, like if you got to build a Mount Rushmore of Pokemon, most of us, like Rusty would be in there. So it's something to keep aware of. And even PokeRev, like there's a large segment of Pokemon consumers that just don't touch YouTube at all. And it blows our minds because like we're so ingrained in this, we're so deep into it. But PokeRev isn't known by probably anywhere near, he might not be known by 90% of Pokemon consumers. Maybe it's not that low, but like it would not surprise me if you polled all the people, only 10% knew of PokeRev or something like that, because YouTube is just one subset, one segment. Very rarely do we ever get to interact with, because they have no social medias, they don't watch YouTube. I mean, there's a large amount of people that don't go to LGSs and play games. Like once you get like cast a really wide net, get the really casual consumers of this, like there are some people that just once a month they buy a pack at Walmart or an ETB at Walmart or this or that. They don't know about the next set that's coming out. They might not know about the last set that came out. Like it's interesting to think of how broad this all is, and like the PSA pop reports of 10,000 cards, and there's millions of collectors. Like there are millions of collectors. The vast majority of collectors have never owned a slab still. Like so I'm kind of turning this into like a bullish conversation around Pokemon. The amount of growth that so many of these things could have if grading became more ubiquitous in Pokemon, if like social media content and all that became more ubiquitous in Pokemon, there's I guess I'm making the bull case now. There's a lot of growth that could happen. Not even necessarily getting more people in, but like getting a lot of the people that are in even more ingrained. I think a lot of us border on unhealthiness, the level of engagement we have with Pokemon. Hopefully not like costing people relationships or financial hardship or things like that, but definitely. I mean, some people, I know Jake had made good videos and good content around like addiction and this and that, because some of us definitely really border on that territory, but we are the 1% of the 1%, maybe of the 1% in engagement, really.
Yeah, for sure.
We got NestTCG's Mount Rushmore here. Danny Phantump, Dan, Nick, and Dan's dad.
Yes, your dad's now a Pokemon investor.
We might have to have him on a PokeFlipz someday. I don't know if he'd be interested, but he's been watching and like listening to, watching, engaging a little bit more with some of my content. Not engaging like on YouTube, on Instagram, but like talking to me about a recent post or a recent video, and maybe someday he'll make it on.
Hopefully after you guys make a ton of money off your pallet.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've been told, it's gonna double or triple whatever the compound annual growth rate of the S&P 500 is. So, billionaire status, here I come.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope your spreadsheet pays off. I'm most curious about that silver hitting $50 an ounce.
Yeah. Don't hold your breath. It might happen. I've seen it happen, but I don't know if it's coming back anytime soon. We do have some questions.
Does your mom just text you like, how do you sleep at night, getting your father into this?
What? Maybe in 2 years, if this all has gone bust, maybe I'll start getting those texts. But as of right now,
did he come to you or you went to him?
So I actually, it's funny, I'm wearing the Rangers shirt. I remember a conversation I had with him nearing a decade ago, 8-10 years ago. Whenever the base set first Charizard was $5,000, whenever the probably 2015, probably 9 years ago. Whenever base first PSA 10 Charizard was $5,000, and whenever base at first booster box was $10,000, the one that was at Collector's Cash. Because I specifically talked to my dad about those items. Like I talked about my little side hustle, side hobby, whatever, and I talked to him about how I was considering buying a $10,000 box and how I was considering buying a $5,000 card. Mostly collector, flipper, like less investor, but seeing the potential for future price appreciation. So that was on a bus on the way down to a Rangers trip one year. And then I remember like talking to him later, a year or two later, it's like, hey, that box sold. You can't find him now for $50,000. Hey, that card sold. You can't find him now for $50,000. And he heard all the stories. He heard all what happened during the boom. And now me being full-time, I talk with him a lot about my business. So it wasn't like, hey, Dad, you need to buy $25,000 in Pokemon for me. I never once said that. I just always talked about what was going on and the crazy things. And finally, he was like, so what can you do for me? I got some cash. Maybe we can make an exchange, get a nice little Pokemon investment portfolio going on.
Pumping for 5 years.
There we go. I like it. I like it.
The long game.
Playing the long game. Laid a big foundation there over the past 8-9 years for sure. So yeah, I do see some questions coming in. I'll try to hit a couple quick ones, and then Brad's got a topic that I knew was going to come up at some point today. Lugia or Rayquaza? I'm going to go Lugia just because Crystal, I'm so Gen 2, like I need to go Lugia there.
Yeah, if we're talking Pokemon, like character-wise, definitely Lugia. If we're talking who has the better cards, by far Rayquaza.
I agree on that.
It's Rayquaza.
Pokemon?
It Mega Evolves with an attack. Like, it doesn't have to hold a Mega Stone. It can Mega Evolve.
Yeah,
Lugia wasn't even real. It was just made for the movie. Like,
yeah, and that was a great movie.
It'd be boring if we agreed on everything.
It's Rayquaza.
But yeah, I'm with Nick. I'm going Lugia, but Rayquaza as far as like card art goes.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys feeling about Shrouded Fable? Do you think 95 cards is too small a set for a set to have cards that have any type of value? I think it says more than 95. Don't they normally do it in a way where it says more than a number? Like it might be 95 as far as the set numbering goes, but then it might be 100 secret rares or whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
But like recent sets have been 180 cards plus everything else. So yeah, 95 is actually very small.
But could this be like wasn't Hidden Fates only 90 something? Wasn't Shining Fates because they had the whole shiny vault separately numbered?
Yeah.
Like I'm one who doesn't look at spoilers. I know people have been talking about it. I see them some because I'm so engaged, but I don't seek them out. Maybe it's just where they have a separate subset. I don't think this is a specialty set though. Usually that's a specialty set thing, not a main set thing. But
this will be a regular set.
So is there? Maybe this has already been debunked with spoilers. I genuinely have no idea. But like, couldn't this still be a 300 card set if it just called it something else, Shiny Vault, like whatever it may be? Like, couldn't it just have a massive trainer gallery of 100 cards or? Like, I have no idea.
If it's a specialty set, I guess they could. I don't know if they would do that with a standard set though.
But standard sets have trainer galleries and things. Like there's stuff like that.
Yeah. But those aren't usually hundreds of cards. You have like 30 to 40. But I guess they could just make a massive whatever subset.
But it has to be a specialty set because they're showing all the specialty boxes and no boosters.
Are they?
So far.
And they usually show the booster boxes first because they show the Greninja promo that everybody's talking about is in that.
Yeah, the ETB promo.
Stupid promo in the ETB.
What's the promo?
I don't even know what it is. It looks stupid. I don't know. I'm so.
Everything is stupid.
I don't want to talk down, but Scarlet and Violet is just so bad.
Nick, you got to be ripping like 800 packs of this on release night. Don't be talking down on it. Come on.
He's like,
greatest set ever. Greatest set ever.
Paying his bills.
There we go.
Shit on it. Like he'll be live and he'll be like, "Oh, I'm running this Japanese card. The texture is so much better in the English. Like here's this Japanese variant of it." I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Here's this terrible
It's
card.
honesty. Honesty is the best policy.
There we go. But yeah, I genuinely don't know. Shrouded Fable, almost the name of it. Not that you can tell anything by that, but it almost gives me a feel like it's like I don't know. I could just see it being having some massive subset, side set, whatever. I think you can definitely have valuable cards in a 95 card set because 95 is more likely 250 or 300 by the time they do all the crazy stuff they do.
Well, the following set after this is that Super Dragon set, right?
That's the one I'm excited about.
I've been hearing about a dragon set, yeah.
So I could see him doing something low level mids and then going all out for the Dragon set.
I don't know. We've been all over the place with Scarlet and Violet.
It's a good block. Like you're just
it's
a boomer.
terrible. Like Paldea Evolved, I really like. Obsidian Flames, I really like. Wait, what did it say? I
That's
completely
my
missed that.
son on the left.
Oh.
We got Nat Turner in the chat. Nice to have a billionaire in the live chat. You love to see it. Oh man.
But like Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces, Scarlet and Violet base was okay, but the past two regular sets, it's been rough.
Oh,
the whole future and I don't like the whole future and past.
They're saying it is a specialty set.
Okay. So are we gonna get two? We're gonna get 3 specialty sets this year? Because I feel like the Dragon set will be. I was under the assumption we don't know anything, but I thought the Dragon set would be a specialty set. Maybe
the Dragon set is the holiday special set.
That's what I was thinking because they were saying it was supposedly August in Japan. I don't know.
I have no idea. Me neither.
We just got whatchamacallit?
Paldean Fates?
Paldean Fates, yeah.
When was Paldean Fates?
January.
I was gonna say I didn't know if it was like late. It was January 26th that shows, so I didn't know if it just snuck into this year or if it was last year.
My timing is all screwed up.
Mine too. I'm so bad with time, like days, weeks, months. I have a hard time remembering what was like a week ago versus. I'll think something was a week ago and it was like 6 months ago, and then vice versa too.
It doesn't help when they have, like we had the ETBs, and then the next month there was a collection box and the booster bundles. It doesn't help when new stuff comes out every month.
Yeah, it's tough to keep up with. Jacob wanted to know. Nick is in Chicago. You're in your hotel now, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm in Chicago for the 1-year anniversary stream. Got Walrus helping out with that. So that's why we're in a hotel. Or maybe just the bulk mountain that's usually behind me finally took over that room.
Yeah. Oh, Brandon says the Dragon set is 1 month after Shrouded Fable, and it's a main set. So for some reason, I was thinking the Dragon set was a specialty set as well.
Okay.
But I generally try to avoid spoilers. I like experiencing it for the first time when I'm actually opening it. It's impossible to avoid all of them, but I do my best.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like to avoid it as much as possible. That way it's fun when I'm doing the openings. Get to experience it for the first time. Although it getting into opening Japanese, it almost hurts me not to look at the spoilers because I have no idea what these cards are called.
Yeah, I'd have a tough time with that too. Ancient Mew wanted to know where Pokemon DNA was. I've definitely seen him around Discord and stuff, but
I was just going to say he's busy at the gym.
Yeah, he's definitely busy at the gym, not making the YouTube content, but definitely see him around Discords here and there. So let's hit a couple of these quick ones, and then we'll go into Brad's comment about GameStop. So Brandon wants to know, doing anything with Lorcana?
I want to get some. I want to get some boxes of the new set. I have not yet. I do want to though, because I did a little bit with set 1, did a little bit more with set 2. Set 3 into the Ink Clans I completely skipped because I didn't like any of the cards in that set. But this 4th set actually has a lot of really good cards. They didn't print any Tigger Grails, which is a little disappointing. But there's a lot of really good cards in this 4th set. So I do want to at least get some booster boxes to have for the streams, but I have not yet.
What percentage would you say you do? Like Pokemon obviously is the main, far and above, but do you do any? And as far as the consignments go, can people send in maybe a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh, Lorcana, maybe a little bit of Metazoo, anything like that, or just Pokemon?
Metazoo, it's only you who has it. What the hell?
I've had a few people send some Yu-Gi-Oh cards in. I tell people you can send it in, but I have no idea how it'll do. Walrus sold a few Yu-Gi-Oh cards a long time ago, and they did decently, I thought. So there are some like cross collectors who do Pokemon, but they'll also do Yu-Gi-Oh. Or I ran some Star Wars cards at one point, and those did decently well. So I think this stuff does decently well, but I think Pokemon is definitely the stuff that does the best.
If you're gonna send it, send popular characters that people want.
Yeah.
No Karibos, no Metazoo.
No Metazoo.
So yeah, we have what's been a hot topic all around YouTube lately, the GameStop thing. I'll quickly share my own little anecdote. I'm in upstate New York. I saw that on the post that I saw, it said like New York, Texas, Connecticut, maybe 6 or 7 states it named. But I missed the part. That said like 200 stores in these states. Apparently my store doesn't do it. I was actually going to the bank that day, and I just grabbed 5 or 10 cards maybe, and they're like, yeah, we're not buying them yet. He called. I think the closest place to me is in Brooklyn. So
that's a hike.
No GameStop sales for me. What about you guys?
No, man. Connecticut, which is about like an hour and a half ish from me. I could go down there, but I don't think it's worth it. I'm not that. I'll wait for more YouTube videos to come out to see what they're buying stuff at.
Would you even sell those since you have eBay Live?
No, but I am curious to see what they would offer on like more popular cards.
Did you watch the video?
Wanda that we saw that was all over Instagram? That was wild, but that seemed to be like a one-off thing. PK got absolutely wrecked with his offer.
Leonhard did a video.
Got wrecked with their offers.
Leonhard did a video where he actually sold some to him. I think he, just for the content or whatever, he sold some that were pretty rough offers. But I think small scale here and there, like their system will have a little glitch, or there will just be some oversight. People will probably get too much money for certain cards, but that will be far and away the exception. Like GameStop is not going to be any of our saviors. GameStop is not going to be the Collecticon buyout, but at 120%. People really ran with those first couple screenshots. I think what it will be, though, like that's not to be negative about it. It's just to be realistic about it. It'll be an introduction to a new demographic. Going back to what I was saying earlier, we're deep into this. Like we take for granted how little people know about graded cards and this and that. So having displays up at GameStop, having some items listed on the GameStop website. I actually saw yesterday somebody linked in Discord, like GameStop actually has some graded cards up already. That'll just expose it to more people, and I think it will be a net benefit to the hobby. Even though some amount of people will take a very low amount of money for their graded cards as people do their video games, it's only a positive thing, right? Because even if GameStop is going to offer a very low number, people don't have to take it. So if they choose to, if it's worth it for them, great. They don't want to go through the hassle. Otherwise, they just want to be able to get the video game they want to get or whatever else. Like I think it's a not much of one, but like a slight net benefit to the hobby.
Weren't they only selling online though?
That's what I was going to say that.
I don't think they're carrying them in stores yet.
I heard conflicting things. Well, as of today, I don't believe they're selling them in store anywhere. But then I also heard, I forget if I read something or if I heard something where they're going to have like displays. They're having displays sourced and manufactured so that they can show some amount of them somewhere. Again,
I think it was on cardboard hands. Josh and Petra were talking about that.
I heard a lot of.
I heard that too, and I think that was from a podcast.
But I think they got it from like maybe Dr. Applesauce. I watched. So the main content I consumed was I watched Dr. Applesauce's video where he actually got someone from GameStop sent him the training manual and he went through the whole training manual. And then I also watched Leonhardt's video. That one I didn't watch the whole thing. I kind of skipped through it a little bit just to see the interactions of him actually selling it. But I think it might have been Dr. Applesauce's video where it kind of said, like, we're only buying for right now, then you'll ship it off to here. But I think it's said in there somewhere that like, in the future, when they have the displays, they'll buy it, they'll put it on sale in the store for like a week, and then if it doesn't sell there, then it goes in and get it sold elsewhere, online or whatever. That's the way that I understand it. But yeah, I don't think it's going to have like any massive effects on graded card pricing or anything like that, but it'll do a little bit to give more visibility to graded cards, I guess, which is only a positive for everyone, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think they do need to. I think they do need to have stuff in store for it to have any effect. So hopefully that does happen. Because just doing it online, people, that's who cares about that. But if you could go into a GameStop and be able to look at cards, that would actually be kind of cool. Because like for me, I have a GameStop right in my town, but I do not have a card shop. I have a card shop a few towns over, but it would be cool to be able to actually go somewhere and check out cards.
Yeah, and again, like on the selling side, I don't think they'll be great. We have Son of a Merkin here saying some are fair price, some are overpriced. It's gonna be like anywhere else. Like generally speaking, I would tend to think GameStop would be above market. Like I don't think you're gonna find a ton of deals. Just inherently the way that it works. If good deals do get listed, they're probably gonna get sniped relatively quickly. So like usually when you go on eBay, when you go anywhere, you're more likely to be seeing, well, like what hasn't sold yet. So the best deals are always sold very quickly. So unless you're going in there like daily or whatever, or if you have a hookup, if you have somebody that you know that works at a GameStop, like I'm sure that some amount of that stuff will be going on as with anywhere.
But it'll be interesting if they have them in store, if everything is priced, or if they price it when you want it. Like they'll let you know pricing.
I would imagine it'll be priced.
I don't think so. Because
this is just my understanding.
I don't know.
I think the whole 1 week thing. I like when they offered PK 270. Maybe their list price was going to be 20. What I envision happening, they literally pay for it. They cash the person out, however they do cash credit, and later that day, the next day, they put it in. They put a single sticker on it at a fixed price, and if it sells that week, boom, it goes for that only. I don't think they're going to reprice on the spot. I think it's going to be some algorithm based on what they paid, and then a week later, some duration later, they're just going to send it off, and then maybe then, before it's listed on the website, maybe they'll do a final reprice. But I don't see GameStop having dynamic pricing. I don't see GameStop having negotiable pricing. Like I don't think, hey, I want to buy you out at 70%. I'm a streamer on eBay Live. I don't think GameStop's going to do that. Like
I can't see it.
I could be wrong. Maybe they will have a little bit of pricing freedom as some percentage, but like I lean towards highly doubting it for sure.
Well, because you think you have video game resellers. Like I watch Phoenix Resale. He does some good like video game content, and occasionally he'll go into GameStop and buy games, and he never tries to negotiate with them. So that being a thing, I cannot see it.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty straightforward. It'll be they scan the code. Mm-hmm. It'll go to the PSA APR and it'll pull like we can pay $50 maybe on your Celebration Charizard. And then once they buy that in, they'll have instruction to list it in the case for a week at 180, whatever the number is. And then if it doesn't sell, ship it along, and then they list it on the website. Like, I don't think GameStop is going to want to be holding stuff very long term. I don't think they want to be subject to the ebbs and the flows of the Pokemon market. I think they just want to buy low, sell higher immediately. Keep that thing churning, keep that thing going for sure.
So is their pricing just based on PSAs last sold, or like eBay or comps? Or how are they getting their comps?
We don't know 100%, but I feel like people are trying to find it out. And I think once people find it out, like, and hopefully GameStop has things in place where it takes into account like volume sold, because I can just see, not to make it a RuneScape analogy, as I often do, but like there are certain items in RuneScape that are very infrequently traded. So what people will do is they'll scam other people by inflating the value up basically on fake trades between themselves. So I'm almost wondering if some people are going to try to take some like mid-era niche things and try to like make fake sales on eBay at a high price to fool the PSA APR to then sell to GameStop for inflated prices. Maybe that's getting like too deep into it. Maybe there's not enough there. But one thing humanity has proven time and time again, if there's a way to take advantage of a system, if there's a way to like scheme and scam money, people will do it 100% of the time. So it goes on in a 25-year-old medieval clicking simulator. It absolutely will go on in real life at GameStop.
Mid-era, we're not going back that far. We're going temporal forces commons, baby.
Yeah.
Literally, you could grade 100 of some random common card that no one else is really grading, and I guess it's giving instructions for somebody, and probably wouldn't be worthwhile, especially if it didn't pan out, and now you've got 100 whatever it may be, PSA 8s, PSA 9s. But someone's gonna
once, people. It only has to pan out once.
That is def. I had thought about that, and that is 100% going to happen. There's not a question about that. Somebody is going to do that.
But hopefully, I mean, GameStop is a big company. Hopefully there were people involved in meetings that had some amount of intelligence, and I'm assuming they've gone through the whole rigmarole with like video games. They've probably seen everything with people trying to pull one over on them. So I think they probably have systems in place to cover most scenarios that people will try to throw at them. But it's always like a game of cat and mouse between the scammers trying to scam, do something shady, and then the people setting enforcing rules and weeding those things out for sure.
Yeah.
But then
PSA 10 is a legitimate sale of a common. What scam?
But then there has to be so much work that goes into that, because you can't rely on the employees for anything. Where 99% of the employees aren't going to know a single thing about Pokemon. So to come up with a system that says, okay, we'll pay this amount for this card without having any of those issues that could happen, it's got to be such a complex system.
The employee has to care too, right? Like, you're just there to do a job. You're going to get paid.
Who cares when they work at GameStop?
But exactly, like, you're not going to say,
except
like,
for Bierski. Bierski was a.
I don't want to pay you too much because it seems like a scam. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm making the same whether I pay
exactly.
you or not.
If they scan a card that's a $5-10 card and the computer tells them to pay $100, they'll pay $100. Like, that's they'll follow the job instruction, everything. Like, but hopefully they have systems in place. I mean, you could easily check against like the TCG player price. You could pull from multiple areas. You could have certain checks in place where you don't pay over X percentage of raw or whatever. Like, I think this is a very unlikely scenario that anyone finds some major loophole and exploits GameStop to any reasonable degree. I think we're getting in really, really deep here down the rabbit hole that very rarely anyone will venture down. But that's what we do here.
I don't know. I'm starting to think about it.
Yeah.
You just got to grade something that nobody else is ever going to grade.
Well, give it a try and make a YouTube video on how it went. Oh,
Retirement, here I come.
The perfect crime. I got GameStop to pay $100 on $87 worth of cards. Ancient Mew asked, do sold cards at GameStop get taxed? I mean, cash sales are cash sales. Cash sales are cash sales. They are not going to generate a 1099 with your name on it.
Are they
But
not taking like ID, paperwork, nothing?
Oh no, I was thinking when you buy cards from GameStop. Okay, never mind. Cash.
Yes, when you buy cards from GameStop, you will be charged sales tax. But I think Ancient Mew is asking, like, do I have to pay income tax on income that I get from selling cards to GameStop?
Yeah.
The answer is always yes. But I mean, that's legally. If you find a $20 bill on the street, the IRS wants you to report that. Mm-hmm. Who is reporting that? I don't know who that person is, but like theoretically, if you find a $20 bill on the street, that is taxable income. That there's a line on your tax return to report that. But again, cash is cash. No 1099 is being generated. I'll leave it there. So we covered GameStop. Jacob had another question. I'll let one of you guys go first. What's your guys' Grail card that you currently don't own?
Oh, that you don't own. Okay. Well, mine would be the No Damage Ninetales. PSA 10. That would be mine.
What about you?
Gold Star Pikachu PSA 10.
Nice.
Dan's not a collector anymore. These questions are boring for him.
I mean, mine would be like the Grail of Grails, in my opinion. Mine would be like a 97 Pikachu number 1. I guess
one over a number 3.
I understand the like for the art of the number 3, but like I want a winner, not a loser. That number 3, that chubby, cute little guy, he lost. I want the winner. I want the number 1. That guy. Winners win. I want the number 1. Who like the equivalent of the number 3 is like the guy who lost in the AFC Championship game. No one wants memorabilia from the championship game loser. Like they weren't even in the Super Bowl. They weren't even like no one wants a Super Bowl loser memorabilia. They weren't even in it. So yeah, I'm going number 1 over number 3 for sure. Art is cool and all, but like I want the winner. Other than that, some other Grails that one feels way out of budget, out of reach. I quite confident I'll never own that card. Master's Key, Wonder Platinum, Mew Victory Orb. Those are a couple other like feels almost like an oxymoron to say, but like lower caliber trophies, pretty high end in the top 1 percentile for sure of like rarity and price and everything in Pokemon, but way more achievable. And I feel like one day I could own those, but so that's like my shoot in the moon absolute Grail card, and then a little more like reasonable options.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think you guys, your Grail cards are a lot more achievable than the one that I laid out, I think. So I was going to ask you if you had like, instead of S tier, like what are your A tier Grails? But I mean, yours are pretty achievable too. I guess Nick's, yours is less achievable, but.
Yeah, where it's the 1. Outside of that.
Did you figure out who owns that or not yet?
I have no idea. What would be another one for me?
You like the Kangaskhan.
That's even less achievable. I think the Kangaskhan would be even more expensive.
Oh, you're trying to go achievable?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I can't. Nothing comes to mind immediately.
You already have
Squirtle. I've got one that Walrus. Maybe I shouldn't give it away, but I've got one that Walrus is working on for me. It's a CGC Pristine 10 certain Squirtle.
The Nirvana one?
No.
I mean, I will say, not only does Walrus's Grail sound achievable, it sounds like it would be a great Employee Appreciation Day present.
Whoa.
I mean, when does 1 year anniversary? When is Employee Appreciation Day? I wouldn't know when Employee Appreciation Day is. I mean, I don't have any. Didn't it just pass, actually? I almost feel like I heard something about it recently. Maybe that was just Teacher Appreciation Day. Yeah, it was March 7th. So,
Dang
Nick,
it, too late.
you got almost a year. PSA 10, Gold Star Pikachu.
Note to
Keep
self.
it back in mind. Keep it in mind.
I'll be sure to.
Ancient Mew wants to know, yes. So I'm not sure where it stands. I know that they lowered the threshold from 200 transactions and $20,000 to 600 like 2 years ago, but then they kicked the can down the road. They kicked the can down the road again. Are they going to do it again? I'm not sure. If you're in Massachusetts like Nick, I think $600 is what it's been for years now. So depending on state, depending on where you are, it's been 600 for a while, or it's still 20. We don't really know. But 1099 or not, 1099 has nothing to do with the legal requirement to file with that income. 1099 is just where like they mandatorily have to report it. But it's reportable whether or not you get a 1099. But that's, yeah, how many people actually follow that, and that's a different conversation. And yeah, Alex H with the same information there, 20K. It was intended to be 600, but I think that's one of those things that's in constant battles in the House or in the Senate, wherever that's getting caught up.
It'll happen at some point.
Almost certainly. One place that it doesn't happen, I don't see it happening anytime soon, consignments. I mean, Nick's doing eBay Live consignments over there. No 1099 required. I used to do eBay Vault consignments. I don't know 100% what I'm doing in the future, but I will have consignments in the future, TBD, TBA. But yeah, I will be doing consignments of some kind. Yeah, Alex says it should go lower this year, but I think it was intended to originally go lower in like 2021 or 2022.
I was going to say that's been getting pushed back a few years. It's not just this year.
As those things go, a lot of things get bundled together in politics to like pass certain laws. And I forget which law it was, but that was kind of like a revenue generator that was bundled in with something that was going to cost a bunch of money, and maybe it was some pandemic package that got bundled into. I don't really remember exactly, but yeah, I think that's an inevitability on a long enough timeline. It's just been slow getting there. Mm-hmm. I think we're fully caught up with questions, so yeah, if anyone has any, feel free to leave them. We probably will wrap up a little bit earlier than normal, I guess. I mean, we can wrap up at any time too if questions stop coming in. But we definitely plan to wrap up by 4 Eastern at the latest, maybe another hour or so if people have questions. I guess we covered business-wise what is going on in your trip, talking about taxes and all that. Obviously, this is a tax write-off trip, a nice little business travel weekend. What do we have going on, obviously, with Collecticons and all that? There's a lot of extracurriculars being done. Any fun extracurriculars planned? When's the trip go till?
So I got here this morning, and I'll stay until Monday night. So whenever we're done with Flips, me, Walrus, and Vending are going to go out tonight, and then Mertz is going to come out with us as well. Nice. So that'll be a really good time. And then, yes, Vending, let's wrap PokeFlipz up and let's get going.
And then tomorrow, Chef's coming too.
Yes. Yeah, Chef. Chef will be here bright and early tomorrow.
Was he traveling? Because he's in North Carolina, right?
Yeah. Yep. So he's gonna fly in tomorrow morning and then fly out Sunday morning. So we'll have a whole day with him. Gonna do a nice little boat ride tomorrow at some point with him.
That sounds romantic.
Yes. We'll do the whole Titanic scene.
Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing that Instagram story.
But yeah, no, go get something to drink, get something good to eat, hang out Saturday, do the live Saturday night, sleep in Sunday, and then do something Sunday. Probably start packaging Sunday.
You're heading out Sunday night or Monday?
What was that?
You're heading out Sunday night or Monday?
Monday night. I'll leave.
So you're not doing a live. Are you only missing Monday night's live next week, or skipping a few?
I haven't decided on that yet. I might skip Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. Because I'm definitely skipping Monday, unless I do the live from the plane. Not sure if the Wi-Fi could handle that, but I might skip Tuesday. That would be a nice little vacation for me, because then I would just go live Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll see on that one.
TBD. So stay tuned to Nick's socials for his eBay live streaming schedule.
Yes.
Brandon wants the Wednesday afternoon streams to come back.
Absolutely not. Those are not coming back. No, I want those to come back. The ultimate goal is to be live. I don't think I would do 7 days a week, but definitely 5 days a week. Afternoon and nighttime. Do lower end cards during the daytime and higher end cards at nighttime with the pack grouping. That's the ultimate goal. eBay's just not there yet. I was doing Wednesday afternoon streams, and they were going all right. I would get 30, 40 people in there. And then the last Wednesday stream that I did, which was back a couple of weeks ago, I had 20, 25 people in there. And the stuff was just selling for so cheap that I said, that's it. We're not doing these anymore.
I don't know how you want to be live. He wants to be live the whole day. It's ridiculous.
I was just gonna say, like, 7 times 24. So there's 168 hours in a week. How many hours do we want to be live out of those 168 a week?
You only need a solid 5-6 hours of sleep.
I remember when he got eBay Live and he called me and he's like, hey, eBay Live's offering me this. It's 20 hours a week, but I don't think I can do 20 hours a week. Like, it's so much.
And now he's trying to do like 60 hours a week.
It's like 7 hours a day he's doing, and I'm like...
that was pretty wild in the beginning. I remember in the beginning it was a struggle to try and do that long every night. Like try and do 3 hours a night. Now it's a struggle not to stay up past 2-3 o'clock every night.
I can see you jonesing right now for another hit of that eBay Live.
Rip a pack.
Oh man. Who's got money in chat? Who's ready to buy a pack? Come on, Nick, get one ready. Oh man, no, that's good. That's good that it's going so well and you're enjoying it so much. It's definitely not for me, but I could see me enjoying like a once monthly stream, maybe more, maybe less, who knows.
Mm-hmm.
But I really would rather get it. I think I can definitely do well sourcing a lot of inventory. And I think there are definitely people who would have that personality, have that charisma, have that whatever required for live streams that I just won't bring. I don't have that in me. Like when I was in that room in the background, you are a different person entirely. And it's good. I mean, it's good for eBay Live, but I don't have it in me at all.
Yeah, you were getting into the $1.
Yeah. I can't drink the amount of IPAs every night I would need to keep that energy. That'd be bad for my health.
That is true. You just gotta be drunk every day. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's awesome though that Chef's coming out. That's gonna be a fun weekend.
Yeah, no, that'll be a lot of fun.
Right?
That'll be a lot of fun.
You couldn't talk Ponga into hanging out?
Ponga said he didn't want to hang out with me for some reason.
he did just move, to be fair. I don't know how far he is from there, but
he said something about just move. He said he was busy moving, unpacking, not wanting to be with me.
I don't know where we stand either. I think we might still have that stream, but I don't know. He's gonna get wrecked by me in a game show on Java's channel at some point.
The first game show, we were talking about that at lunch. with Mason and Josh. That was actually really, really good. I didn't catch the live of that, but I watched it afterwards, and Java did a really good job with that.
Yeah,
So
I listened back to it too.
He's able to continue because I did enjoy watching that, and definitely want to try and catch it live. If you guys do it tomorrow, and it's not going to happen. But it seemed like the live chat was having fun that night too.
Yeah, it seemed like a good time. I'm looking forward to it whenever it happens. As long as I was gonna say Walrus, as long as Ponga doesn't keep ducking me, doesn't keep trying to duck the fight, being afraid of losing. to be fair, he's played so many more of the games than me. He's probably gonna wreck me. Being honest about it.
I was gonna say he's really good at the Who's That Pokemon on their podcast. I don't know. Once you get outside of Gen 2, I don't know anything.
Their last episode, they were all slipping. Even having Ray on there, like there were a few of them. Like normally I'm on 1.75x and I'm not looking, but at the end, I kind of like perk up and I look, and I was getting like Snorunt they didn't get. I'm trying to think of what other ones, but there were multiple that none of them got that I got. So if we do much of Who's That Pokemon, I think I'm in decent shape for those. But if we get too much into like the lore behind some of the games, if we get too much, I feel like base set through XY, it's kind of interesting because like I've been full time for these past couple of years, but I still know more about the XY sets than like the Sword and Shield sets. Even though I was full time during the Sword and Shield sets, I was just engaging in a more collector way. I was building the master set binder, complete set binders, not reverse hollows. So I was engaging in a different way, a more pure collector way. Now I'm more like an evil capitalist way. So I'm just not retaining as much, I guess.
Well, I think it's also you were selling a lot of singles in XY.
Mm.
I think you need to open a lot of product to understand the sets.
Yep. Yeah, and I was opening at least a case of everything through XY for a while at least. But we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it either way.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Dan about to get exposed as a fake fan. Ray saying he's been a fake fan for a long time. It ain't bad. Yeah, I'm fully admitting that I'm engaged in different ways. Engaged in more the monetary side of it than the true collector getting into the nitty gritty of all the different sets and stuff. PokeFlipz wanted to know when you guys moved in together. Here's a good one from the Shiny Outpost.
Oh, Nick, thought you were going to read it. How nervous were you during your first few weeks streaming, and how did you get over that feeling, if any? And for Walrus, are you nervous now, or is it something that doesn't faze you? So Shiny, I know you'll be there. But shout out to Walrus for putting together the intro for the anniversary stream. He did the evolution, or I guess it starts out with the "Hey everyone," a bunch of clips from that from various times, and then the real good part is the evolution of the $1, because that wasn't always a thing, which I thought it started a lot sooner than it did, but that didn't start until October. But September, October.
You should post that as a reel. Like let it premiere for the first time on this live stream, but you should post that as like a reel, like a short YouTube video, just so that it can be enjoyed by all.
Yeah, definitely. But so the first part of the intro is the "Hey everyone" for my very first eBay Live, and I hate listening to myself talk to begin with. But you could tell I sounded so nervous. It's bad. and I was super nervous because I didn't know. I knew mostly what I was doing, but it was my first time ever being live. I didn't know if people were going to come in. I didn't know anything on how it was going to go. Now that I've been doing it for so long, I know people are going to come in. I have the regulars coming in every night. And so now I don't get nervous because it's more of a fun time now. You're just hanging out with people selling cards. So now it's a lot more fun than it used to be.
My favorite thing is now with the hey everybody, he goes like this, like hey everyone, and he does a little waves now.
That reminds me of for whatever reason, I was looking back at some of my old videos, and I looked all the way back to my first one. I think it was around when I hit 3 years on YouTube, and we used to pre-record PokeFlipz before it was even called PokeFlipz. He's just like, hey everyone, like very, very quiet, nowhere near like the tone. So it would be funny to see an evolution of the hey everyone to start this podcast, because
that would be
like
cool.
episode 1, back when we pre-recorded it, it was just so like just so much more like toned back and stuff. And I think over time on its own, it picked up some. And then once eBay Live came in, I think it just did its own thing from there. And then like more often your mic will just peak and you'll miss half of the everyone because like you're above the volume threshold. And that definitely wasn't a thing before. So the eBay Live has definitely brought some extra vigor, I guess, to your intro in this podcast, Steven.
It's like, have you ever seen Good Morning Vietnam with what's his name? Oh God. What's his name? I forget. The comedian who was in Jumanji.
Oh, Robin Williams?
Robin Williams, yes. That is such a good movie. But he's a radio host in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. And so he goes in on his first day, and the guy that Robin Williams is replacing is doing his broadcast, and it's little like arrow of how loud you're talking, and the person doing it is good morning Vietnam, and talking super quietly, super like monotone, and then Robin Williams comes on to do his first broadcast and does good morning Vietnam.
I just actually watched a clip of it on the side on YouTube.
That scene is so funny. The little arrow just like peaks to red.
Oh man, that's funny. Walrus doing the best Nick impression, getting a nap in during PokeFlipz. Walrus is preparing for a late night, closing down the bars. Might as well get a little nap in.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
You've moved up in the world, Walrus.
I'm a pillar spiller, even better.
I'm a pillar's pillar. That sounds so wrong.
It's very rewarding.
Oh,
We're already on a couch, Walrus.
Keep bringing it up.
I actually missed this one. I forgot I started and I forgot to come back to it. Any mention if PSA Vault will be shipping internationally through eBay? I think that did come up in the conversation with Nat. I think it sounded like, so with eBay Vault, international people could not register to have an eBay Vault and like buy stuff on eBay and have it shipped to their vault. Since international people, as far as I understand, already have PSA accounts directly, so international people will be able to have a PSA vault, as far as I understand, and they can sell through their PSA vault on eBay. But it made it sound like shipping an item, buying from the eBay PSA vault, and having it fulfilled internationally, that was more up in the air. It didn't sound like Nat had a concrete answer on that, unless I misunderstood correctly. Do you guys remember?
It didn't sound like he got a definitive answer. I don't think he did. I would imagine it's going to happen at some point.
That was one annoyance I had with
why wouldn't they just be able to use
Vault.
eBay's whatever it's called
international shipping
program?
Well, what's really dumb is that eBay Vault couldn't utilize that. Like one issue I had with eBay the whole time, and I know Rusty's brought it up so many times, but like, how were people not being able to buy? One, if they lived internationally, they couldn't even register an eBay Vault. I know some people personally that like definitely live internationally. I think they created a new eBay account on ebay.com, and they used, like, ironically enough, their PWCC vault address. So I know somehow I had international people buying from me on eBay through the eBay vault, but I think they did some, like, maybe not completely above board by the eBay terms of service. I don't really know, but somehow international people had it set up, and I think they were just literally shipping to their PWCC vault. But one annoyance that I have ongoing right now too, like as I'm withdrawing a lot of cards, some of my own, some consignor cards, they only do FedEx. Like I can't ship it to my PO box. I'm actually middling a card for somebody right now that I'm going to be handing off to them in Orlando. And the seller of that card was adamant about using FedEx. And FedEx is just so annoying. I literally left the house for like 45 minutes today. They came while I was gone. Yesterday, when I was in the shower for like 10 minutes. They came then, so I missed them. So I'm just going to go to FedEx tonight. It's like 25 minutes away. But I think I have like 5 shipments with them. It's vault withdrawals. And then it's this one thing that I'm middling for somebody for next weekend. But like how eBay couldn't integrate it in a way where they could ship to PO boxes was beyond me. Because like PO boxes are, I wouldn't say they're ubiquitous, but they're very common in the hobby, very common security wise, anonymity wise, whatever. But like the fact that you had to ship it to a residential like home address was just so dumb.
Yeah, that is stupid. That is because I would imagine they're common like across eBay in general.
Yeah,
I don't want random people knowing where I live.
And then a huge part about it is just like I want it to go to the PO box so that I can pick it up when it's convenient to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't want it to come randomly. And USPS is at least more regular. They come to me anytime within like a 1 to 2 hour window. But FedEx, and I'm signed up for all the notifications. Oh, well, we'll come sometime today between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. And then they're there at like 3:30. Or like today, I think it said sometime before 12. But I knew I had to go pick my son up from school because it was a half day. Naturally, that like, and then I had to bring him to my parents because they're watching my kids so I can do the podcast right now. But like that 45-minute window while I was gone, of course, I was waiting the whole day, looking at the doorbell notifications, and 5 minutes before I got home, I tried talking to the FedEx guy through the thing, and my doorbell app like glitched out. I don't think he would have waited for me anyways, but that was so annoying.
That's always how it happens too. It happens the same way. I'm gone for like 10 minutes out of the day, and that's when FedEx, UPS, all of them come.
So you guys don't drive around and look for the truck?
I do the truck was sometimes, and I can catch them sometimes.
If the truck was on my road still, I definitely would have like tried flagging him down or something. And I missed him by such a small amount of time. Like if I saw him on my way back in, I definitely would have tried like waving him down. They know me well. Like they know I get tons of shipments all the time, FedEx, UPS, USPS. So they all know me. But I didn't end up seeing him in where I live. Like he could have gone any which way. It's not like he has a standardized route. I wasn't going to go like try to chase him down somewhere. It's not like I live on like a street with like 100 houses and it takes him. I mean, he might have gone from me. His next drop off might have been 3 miles away somewhere. Like could have been any direction, any which way. When you're out in the backwoods, like they don't have. I'm sure in cities, it's a lot more regular. They're hitting a lot more frequent stops. Hit the like button, folks. Appreciate you, Retro. We got Rusty in here. I think the plan is to use EIS. That would make complete sense. Maybe Nat did mention that too, but like why they didn't do that with the eBay vault as it was is kind of a mystery. It seems really strange to me, but is what it is, I guess. I would relatively frequently get people messaging me saying like, hey, I got a FedEx slip on my door today. I work all day, every day. Like I can't get this. Can you have FedEx hold it? Can you do this? Can you do that? I'm like, I'm not the one who shipped it. eBay Vault was, so you'll have to contact them. And I don't know how it ever resolved. Must be everyone eventually got it resolved. I never had anyone messaging me like a week later saying, hey, quit trying to scam me. Why is this returning to you? Blah, blah, blah. But I always just replied to them with like a copy paste thing of, hey, this is sold through the eBay Vault, fulfilled by eBay. I am not the shipper. If I call FedEx, they won't talk to me because I literally have no involvement in the shipment. Even though you bought it through my eBay page, that's not the way this works. And somehow they always got it resolved, seemingly, because I never had like anybody reach out to me really mad later on. But it is an annoyance because I think just like any other service, I think after 3 failed deliveries, they'll just return to sender, won't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then what does the eBay vault do? I have no idea. I guess one anecdote I have that's a little bit more involved, but it's a fair bit different too. Zach's base first Charizard that sold last year through my consignment service through the eBay vault. That one was like a nightmare because they wouldn't even send that one FedEx because it was $217,500. When I shipped that into the vault, they had to have like a private carrier, a private insured shipper. It wasn't FedEx, UPS, USPS. It wasn't any of those. It was just some like guy in a car. And they needed to do the same kind of delivery. Must be due to their insurance level, some dollar amount that they just can't ship through FedEx even anymore. And trying to schedule that with the buyer, it took weeks. It took weeks. And during that time, like the money was tied up, and that was a frustrating thing. And it's like, yeah, $217,500. That's a lot of money, but Heritage, Golden, PWCC, they're doing cards like that like relatively all the time. And eBay, if you want to be in the vault business, PSA now instead of eBay, if you want to be in the vault business, like you kind of need to have things figured out. Like 217,500 is a lot to all of us, but if you're dealing in high-end trading cards, that's coming up every week. I mean, if you're one of the higher tier sellers, so they really need to iron that kind of stuff out. And EIS, that's kind of an issue that'll come up too. Is EIS has a cap of like 2,500, I think. So that's not going to apply to any of the high end.
But I guess it's better than nothing.
Definitely better than nothing, but they definitely need to work through something, because if you want to have the high end, you need to be able to handle it logistically, and that's definitely a place that they were failing. But we'll see how it progresses. Hopefully it works out well. Hopefully it works out. I mean, again, like I might be, even though it is replacing a service I found a lot more value in, I think I'll be able to utilize it to some extent and do some kind of business with PSA Vault. Let's see. Michael B wants to know about Star Wars Unlimited. If you guys want to go, I'll find some more comments to Star.
I haven't gotten into that at all. I did mean to look into that when it first came out, because it was relatively cheap boxes, but then they went way up, and now they came back down. So I think I might get a box or two, and just to open myself, because I absolutely love Star Wars. And then depending on how that goes, maybe eBay Live, try it out there. There's just so much other stuff outside of Pokemon, and Pokemon takes up so much time.
What about you, Walrus? Big Star Wars guy, or no?
Just Pokemon now.
You and Dan are both the same.
I've watched parts of some movies. I know vaguely what goes on in the story a little bit. Someone else's dad.
Somebody's
Turner.
Yeah, I think Luke and Darth Vader have something going on, like one of my chat participants here. But no, I'm just not into Star Wars. 95+% Pokemon. I obviously had my little foray into MetaZoo. Hindsight being 2020, my time would have been better spent in Pokemon, but I still had fun with what I did with that. And believe it or not, every day I'm shipping some amount of MetaZoo. Someone's buying stuff out there. It's probably it is the same like 10 people. Like there are occasionally new names, but I have some like MetaZoo whales apparently. Just every couple weeks they're buying something new, and I don't know. I see Basic Caster in here, so I gotta share a little bit on MetaZoo. Still living.
Still living?
Well,
I
it's
don't
dead
know.
in some ways, but it will also live on forever in others. Rusty actually shared a little anecdote with the eBay Vault thing. I never actually had this. So he said he has a dozen or so buyers who never received their eBay Vault items and then opened cases and won the cases. So presumably eBay Vault took those back. I know Nat, it was actually one interesting tidbit we got during that thing with PK2, is that there exists already a PSA account on eBay that will future serve as the PSA Vault eBay account. And any abandoned orders from the boom, the 14 million card 2-year backlog, any abandoned orders, PSA actually auctioned off those cards to kind of recoup some amount of money, obviously, that they had tied up in their overhead and their time encapsulating those cards. So maybe
they
eBay
couldn't even auction them. They had to. That whole part was weird to me.
Well,
They couldn't sell them for more than 15 or whatever the price was.
I think he said they did an auction starting at 15. I don't think they just binned everything at 15.
No, they have to bin at whatever the cost is because I think legally they can't profit. They just have to be whole again, so they just have to recoup their.
I heard someone say that, and I don't think that's true. I believe they were auctioning them starting at 15, but I'm not positive.
Well, that's what he said,
I'm not.
Right?
Because the way that I understand,
I thought he said they couldn't sell them for more than 15
or whatever.
I've heard 5 people say that probably. I don't remember not saying that.
You were too caught up on your is water a chemical over there.
I'll have to look back. One thing that definitely happens from time to time, like in our little bubble, something will happen, something will be said, and it will be interpreted maybe the wrong way by somebody, and then it'll just be like a game of telephone.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the one being wrong. Like I absolutely could be. I'm not like gonna die on this hill or anything. But it was my understanding from the original thing that they start them at 15 and like more of an auction. I would be surprised because it might shock you to hear this, but like some amount of base unlimited Charizards had to be abandoned. So like there almost certainly were some amount of decent cards abandoned. They were probably sent in with all kinds of trash, but I do not think if they had a PSA 5 unlimited base Charizard, I don't think they would have been that at 15. I think people would have found this account earlier. If this account was just binning everything at 15, one, most of it would have been trash, but some amount of it would have been like a really good buy for 15. And I think we would have seen it and heard about it otherwise. Like that would have been on people's watch later. Like, oh, hey, there's this massive account that lists 10,000 items a month and it's all trash except for 1% of it. It's like $50, $100, $200 cards.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just my logical thoughts on it. Again, I could be entirely wrong, but
I don't know. The whole thing was confusing because I did think I think he did say buy it now, but then at the same time, like how would you not notice a store that every single item is priced at $15?
Yeah, I think we would have found it. I'm surprised. Like I expected someone later that night to like be talking about it in Discord, like, oh hey, I found it. Here it is. I mean, and I'm super deep in all these Discords and all these live chats, and I don't think anyone really like detectived it out. I don't think anyone found it.
But I don't think
at least that I saw.
Like abandoned. It's probably like Vivid Voltage or whatever was at the time commons.
The boom was crazy. I guarantee you there was someone who took like their entire WotC binder, and there would have been a Charizard, there would have been some random decent stuff, but then there also would have been like Diglets, like folded in half Diglets and just absolute garbage. So overall, to pay the $1,000 to release what was maybe like $500 worth of cards, one $400 card and 100 $1 cards. Like I absolutely see that as a scenario. Like there's almost no way that they wouldn't have been selling some amount of good cards for $15. But again, I heard several people say that. I don't think Nat was the original source though. I think 1 or 2 people talked about it somewhere else, and then everyone's been citing that secondary source as the source, or maybe Nat misspoke. Like I just have a hard time getting my mind around that all these cards were binned for 15. But anyways, I don't know.
Josh the Green Chiz is going to take so much offense to you saying Glizzy isn't worth anything.
Yeah. but where I was going,
all the cards you could have mentioned.
Yeah. Where I was going with that whole thing was that I imagine eBay, now that they sold a card, they paid out Rusty's account, final sale, the buyer didn't receive it, it came back to eBay. Presumably eBay gains ownership of that card. eBay probably sold that somewhere, somehow. Like, I don't know exactly. There are certain websites where, like USPS, some kind of like lost packages that I've heard of different accounts, different websites where there's like some government website where they sell goods that are basically lost in transit through USPS. Say a box gets torn open, all the identifying information gets strewn about, and there's some website somewhere where they sell just random crap that comes out in like the USPS, lost items. So there's definitely some black hole out there somewhere with some of those items that Rusty had returned, some of the forfeited items, lost items in the mail.
Yeah.
It's an interesting part of any market. There's always going to be some small percentage of loss and things like that.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Still better than FedEx sending you delivered photo that shows the boxes in the bushes next to one side door of a 3-story apartment. Yeah, that's rough. Where I live, I've talked with my FedEx guy before. I've talked with all of them. It's like I have cameras. No one's coming down this road. No one's coming up my long driveway. If I sign something in advance, and the way FedEx, I forget how they do it. I think they do adult signature required. So they do. It's something you can do if you're like shipping alcohol. It's something where not only does someone have to be present, they have to show ID, they have to, or clearly be 21 or whatever, and they need to be present. Because certain FedEx slips, certain USPS slips, you can sign them and then leave them, and then the next day to leave the package. These eBay Vault ones, though, that does not work. You cannot call FedEx, and you cannot get them to waive the signature. It is 100% in-person signature required. During the pandemic, obviously, some amount of carriers had exemptions for that due to the pandemic and stuff, but as far as I've interacted, as far as I've seen, having a conversation with my FedEx guy, he's like, I need you to sign something. Like, I cannot leave this. Even though I have a separate arrangement with certain other shipments, he's like, I can't do that for these ones for whatever reason.
You have your same delivery driver every time, right? It's essentially like the same guy.
Yep, but he won't leave them for me.
I have like different guys that deliver, because Nick said like, just tell your FedEx guy to sign for you. And like I was home chilling yesterday, and I got a delivery photo for FedEx, and it was in the wrong house.
Yeah.
I walk around my neighborhood looking for it.
That's one nice thing. I mean, I think there's a lot of nice things about living in a small town, but I know all my FedEx people. Like, I know the main guy. I know the backup who fills in on occasion. They all know me. There was one time when I first moved, maybe 1 or 2 times when I first moved, my neighbor got a couple of shipments for me. But like at this point, everyone knows. But even though they know me, even though I get to benefit from like certain, hey, if it ever needs signature, like don't worry about it, just leave it. I've got cameras. It's all on me. Like I'll take the hit if it gets lost, stolen, whatever. They won't do that with the eBay packages because of the extra stuff that eBay's paying to make sure, like, I forget what it's called, but there's some additional service where they will only take in-person handoffs. They will not leave it anywhere, even if a slip is signed or whatever.
The direct signature required.
Yeah, something like, yeah, that sounds right. It's I mean, I guess it's good security wise, whatever, but it's just annoying when it's like whatever 5-10 minute window that I'm unable to receive is when they're naturally going to come. I'm going to be dealing with that a lot over the next 2 weeks as the eBay vault empties. Here's a good one. I didn't want to take this, Nick, while you were gone. Timmy wants to know, how different were y'all's impressions of each other online versus in person? Do y'all interact any differently in person? Any awkward moments? If you guys want to start.
I would say definitely the $1 and hey everyone. I don't do the hey everyone when I see you in person.
Nick is not the same person. Nick has a character that he plays for eBay Live.
I'm actually super mean in person.
Let me find the anything to share, Walrus? Any unexpected things, meeting people for the first time or anything? Or
I think Nick is pretty much the same person. Like Dan is definitely better in real life. Like no disclaimers, just
Oh, there's still disclaimers. Don't lie to the people. There's no tax talk.
Yeah, even when he's hammered, there's still disclaimers.
flies off the rails at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like anybody you interact with are a lot nicer and welcoming in person. Obviously, I think it's important to build like connections through chat or Discord or whatever. But no one's going to push you away when you try to talk or anything like that. I think people are really welcoming in at least our space. I don't know about other spaces, but like at least like our core group, everybody we hang and interact with are really welcoming and like just down to chill and talk about whatever.
Yeah, we say it all the time. Like I always encourage people to come out to events. I understand because we were all in those shoes once, like having never been to our first thing. Nick was talking about how nervous he was going into his first live. I know I was listening earlier to Bierski on Wonders podcast and him talking about his nerves going into his first live stream. Engage more, get out there more, whether that's creating a Discord, whether that's going to an event, whether that's chatting in a live stream. Come out of the shadows, come out of the lurking, get in there, engage, because it's the best part of the hobby. And I love this question. I could talk on this question for a long time. Going back to when I first met Nick, we used to engage primarily like just online, just through the forum. And obviously the next step up from that, I think Discord is the next step up from that. It's a lot more quick. It's a lot more engaging than just logging on once a day to a forum and posting back and checking the next day. Discord's a lot more. You can have like longer conversations really quick. And then live streams are the next level. But I remember going to Worlds in 2019, having met nobody in person. And I was really nervous. I was sticking my neck out there. I'm quite a bit of an introvert, generally speaking. But I just remember like meeting the people that I talked to, meeting some of the people that I had seen on YouTube for hours and hours of content, like Gem at Pokemon. And it's kind of scary. It's a little bit, but everyone I've met is like just as they are in their content, on their videos. Like everyone is, we say like, come say hi, come to our section at Collecticon, whatever. Very friendly, very, very welcoming. Definitely come engage, come say hi, because I understand the hurdle, but everyone I've met, the only time, and going back, I've kind of rambled all over the place, but going back to E4 days, going to my first Worlds, most of those people that I met, I had never saw, I didn't even know what a lot of them looked like. It was a funny interaction to be like, hey, what's your handle? What's your username? As well as finding out their real government name and all of that. So you didn't really know what you were going to get when you're meeting someone maybe from Instagram or from Discord. It's never shown their face before. But yeah, really interesting thing. I wouldn't say that there were any awkward moments like, oh my God, this person is nowhere near what I thought they were going to be, having talked to them online, no negative ones in that way. But yeah, just really, really interesting dynamic. I actually remember meeting Walrus for the first time. Given how lively and given all the memes, all the great jokes and all that, I really had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what to expect, and he far exceeded the expectations I had. Like a lot of fun in chat, great engagement, great interactions in chat, and then meeting him for the first time, I'm like, almost a part of me was like, man, he's a real ball buster. I wonder how he'll be, and he's a more extreme version, I guess, in live chats and all that. Like right now, you see the difference, right? Like you're here on screen right now, you're way toned back from what you usually are in chat, or at least
go in and interrupt you every 10 seconds with a funny little comment. Like in chat, I can just leave it there, but I'm not going to be like, "Hot, Dan."
So a lot of that's just inherent to the nature of having the mic and being on camera, but I'm not saying that in a bad way whatsoever, but it is interesting. Obviously, if you watched my content for years, if you've watched Nick's content for years, you have a lot more of an idea of what you're going to get when you meet us. And I think in both of our situations, you're going to get exactly what you expect. With someone that you see some live chat goat like Mr. Walrus, now he's made multiple face reveals. You know less, but even when I know less, even when I'm meeting a faceless username from Discord, I've never really had a bad interaction with that. I'm saying a lot to just I'll distill it all down to all good interactions that I can think of. Really can't think of any negative ones.
The welcoming extends to like big people in the hobby too, like Rusty and Jim Mint, like super sweet guys. Like I met Jim Mint in Orlando last year, and then I saw him again in Charlotte in your hotel room. He's like, "Oh, hey, Walrus, right?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, this guy knows my name. Like, it's so cool." Like, people genuinely do care, and they want you to be around, and they'll include you. Like, you're not going to be an outcast in any group.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and like, they're all just people, right? Like, they're all just people. Even though we like pedestal, like Rusty. We were talking about Mount Rushmore earlier, and I think a lot of people would put him. He's just a guy, a really awesome one, really cool guy, but like, he will just treat you like another human. He's a great guy. Like, there's no there's nothing like mystical or like weird about it. He's exactly who he portrays himself to be on YouTube and all that. And it is really cool to just be able to call a lot of these people my friends and be able to interact with them a few times a year in real life. Retro says, was an awkward moment when Nick and Walrus reached for the last fry and touched hands.
It wasn't awkward at all. It felt right.
They lady and crammed the last French fry.
It was almost like somebody timed it.
Dan is shorter in person and Nick is taller in person.
Yeah,
that's one thing that I constantly get.
Shot.
You're tall.
I thought you were like 4'8". You look so short on camera.
That's constantly a thing that I get. Is like, oh my god, I did not realize how tall you were. I guess that's one thing that I do not portray well on camera. I need to figure out a way to portray that better, because I guess I act a very short game apparently on camera.
What doesn't help? Your head is the only thing showing on camera.
I know.
You sit up straight all the whole time.
Usually I do the closer view, but since you guys are so far back, I usually try to do my view cropped to where it like fits who I'm on camera with. So normally I do zoom it in a little bit more, but I'll take in the whole background. I'll be more your guys' size. Let's see. Dan has never said anything that nice about me exceeded expectations. Raymond, you also exceeded expectations. A gentleman and a scholar. Very, very nice guy.
Wow.
Any advice on how to become an outcast?
MetaZoo.
Yeah. Brandon's a very good guy too. Had the pleasure of meeting him. Orlando. I mix them all up, but I think it was at Orlando at the Airbnb that I met him first. Maybe it was before that. I don't know. Nick, hella awkward. Zach does keep up with people very well. He's a very, very nice person in the hobby. My first Worlds, as I said, I did kind of what Thrifty did, just in Dallas. She came in like one day and she was flying out super early. She didn't even like have a hotel room, didn't go to bed, I don't think. Just hung out till everyone went to bed and then headed to the airport. I did the same thing in 18. 19 was DC. So it was 18 in Nashville. I finished up my night. Zach had a hotel near the airport. I think I had a flight out at about 6 a.m. So I'm just like, hey, the bars close at 3. I'm going to close down the bars. We took like an Uber out back to Zach's hotel room because it was right near the airport. We went live on Instagram or something, like way before I had an Instagram, way before I had a YouTube. And this was literally someone that I had talked with him over the years. I'd engaged with him some, probably sold some, bought some. I watched his videos too. So it's like the same interaction that I have with some people, like, oh, hey, I watch your content. And I had that interaction with Zach back in 18. And then later that night, I was like going live with him on Instagram, looking at a PSA return. It's crazy to think. Very, very great people in the hobby. They lady and tramp.
I'm trying to find that Instagram live now. That's like the one I did one with at the Tampa show, opening some dud Neo Rev packs.
Is that Jump Love?
Yes, that's where the Jump Love comes from.
I'd imagine, cause I think with Instagram, I guess same with YouTube too. Like you can go live and then you can just make it unlisted or whatever, right? Like I don't think that would be posted on his story. I'd be shocked. Maybe he has it somewhere though. I don't know. We weren't on screen at all. We were just talking, and we
No.
had the cards. I forget what was in the return. Maybe he remembers. But yes, Albus, they definitely spaghetti noodled. They lady and tramped the fry for sure.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It would have been awkward if they hadn't. I mean, Ernesto prefers Walrus to the others.
Ouch.
Yes, Albus, we're definitely taking any and all questions. Feel free to hit us with the questions. And I do see you have some more coming on. How do you decide what you sell as a vendor versus just selling everything on eBay? I've talked about this before, but certain things lend themselves better to in person than on eBay. Two things that I'll point out, and maybe I'll leave a couple for Nick that work better too. But like one thing I've always done is heavy WotC packs. So if I sell this on eBay, I run the risk of getting scammed. I run the risk of the buyer saying, "Hey, I got a light pack, I got a non-hollow card," and then or saying, "Hey, I don't want this anymore," returning to me a light pack in place of the heavy pack I sent them, returning a resealed pack, whatever it may be. So heavy packs in general work well in person, whereas eBay, they could be a little bit sketchier risk-wise. And then another thing that I do is like low-end slabs, $15 to $25 slabs that when you sell a $15 slab on eBay, $5 shipping. That's a 33% fee just to ship the item. Whereas in person, I can easily bring 100, 200, 300 slabs in a carry-on, and I can sell them all 15, 20, 25 bucks a pop, not pay a cent of shipping, not get eaten alive by the just shipping the item. So high-end sealed packs, low-end slabs. Two main things that I go for. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, now with the lives and not vending, it's different, obviously. But I agree that the sealed packs is a really good thing to sell in person. And then for me, it was always like popular Pokemon, $20 to $200 price range would be stuff that I would bring to CollectCons. Just because that's what I found did best for me.
Anything to add, Walrus? Like, what do you decide to sell at conventions as opposed to on eBay?
I brought absolute trash for both my in-person things. So I remember like the first Collecticon I did was like Orlando, and I got in before I had anything. So I told Nick, I'm like, hey, I don't have anything. And in typical Nick fashion, he's just like, oh, just grade something and sell it. So the only thing I had was like Bandai, the Top Sun, Cardass. So I just sent all that to get graded, and it sold.
So who was right?
Yeah. So that's like my experience. But based on like just what people want is they want the newest chase of the newest set available.
Yeah.
Like I remember Orlando, people not knowing the cards, but showing you pictures like, oh, do you have this card? I'm like, oh, that's a $300 card. It's like, I'll even take it if you have it graded. And it's like, they just want the newest thing.
Mm-hmm. And
then don't discount like species collectors. Those people are whales too. They'll spend money if you have their Pokemon in a high grade. Like Ghastly's popular, Arcanine, like just popular Pokemon. Like people collect them for no reason.
And every convention, I will always get at least one random request. And sometimes I've had the card, but I will get like a Weeping Bell collector, or I will get like just the most random thing. And there's been times where it's like, I just so happen to have a PSA 9 reverse hollow EX era, whatever the thing is. But usually I don't, because like, I mean, it's all luck based, but every Collecticon, I will just get one random thing. But if you stick with the Charizards, the Dragonites, the Gengars, the Mews, the Pikachus, if you stick with like the more popular things, obviously you'll have good stuff priced well, is what I say. You'll be more likely to have a better time. If you bring all Weeping Bells and Slugmas and random things like that, trying to just...
Is that a shot at Jake Smith?
Right when I said it, I'm like, oh, I know this one's going to rile somebody up. But if you bring all like those, like you might get lucky. You might have that intersection of like finding the right person, but you're just going to be less likely to than if you bring like all the heavy hitting, the evolutions, the things like that. Sorry, Jake Smith, for the stray. But yeah, I definitely target primarily like packs and things, and for a while I was doing a fair bit of like mid to high end, but then the eBay vault just gobbled all my inventory of that up. And in the future, like now the eBay vault's going to be dissolved, I guess I'll have more of that stuff on hand. So maybe my inventory at conventions will kind of pivot back to being a little bit mid to higher end. We'll see.
There was a follow-up that just came in.
Oh, let me see. What should be the minimum expected total sales for events to advocate the traveling costs? I don't have the inventory to do a big event, but someday that would be cool. So this one is a very personal thing. I've said it before, and I've gotten some comments like, that doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? I literally, like, selling is almost always secondary. I want to, I guess, to make it more business oriented, in case the IRS is listening, networking, things of that nature. But like, I'm going to have a good time primarily. Primarily, I'm going to have a good time. Selling is fun. Buying is fun. All the business related things are fun. But like hanging out with friends and stuff too is hanging out. I mean, and then I'm usually talking like business type things. I'm doing the thing with Retro now. I think he has his video dropping relatively soon. I've definitely established some good transactions, some good business relationships over the conversations I've had in person. So, I mean, I usually go with a number in mind, but some people that might be $3,000. Some people that might be $50,000. Some people it might be $500. It's like, hey, if I could gross enough to pay for my table and pay for the tank of gas it took me to drive here. But some people are driving, some people are flying, some people, like, everyone is different. Some people are selling items that they have a 10% profit margin on. Some people are selling items they have a 50% profit margin on. So it all depends on what your goals are, what exactly you're doing. As I always say, it's just math. So let's just come up with a hypothetical. Let's say your table's 300. Let's say your hotel's 200. Your flights are 500. Let's say you're in for $1,000. If I was selling stuff with an average profit margin of 20% or something, to make it justifiable from a purely business perspective, I better be selling no less than $10,000, right? Because $10,000, 20% margin, I'm making $2, but it cost me $1 to do it. Could I have just sold this stuff otherwise on different platforms, online, yada, yada, yada. So it's like, what are your goals here? If it's purely business, it's a different answer than if it's part business, part fun. I think for most people involved, and I guess, sorry if I'm speaking for anyone that has a different interpretation, different idea, but I think for most people involved, at least some percentage is like, I want to go and have a subsidized vacation, hang out with some of my friends. What do you guys think?
I 100% agree. I think if you're looking at it strictly from a business perspective, it's not worth going. The amount of time it takes to price, unless like your full-time thing is going to conventions, the amount of time it takes to price everything out, remove it from eBay, take it out of your eBay inventory, fly down there, fly back, add it back on eBay, back into the eBay inventory, it's not worth it. But then if you add the vacation aspect to it, then it becomes a whole lot more worth it. Same thing with like this Chicago trip. I could have done this from my house and saved a couple $100, but it'll be nice having the help tomorrow. But is it essential to have the help from Walrus? No.
Whoa.
Hey, IRS says it needs to be ordinary and necessary. So Nick's trip is both ordinary and necessary. Collecticons are both ordinary and necessary.
So embarrassing. I didn't see it right here.
We're covered.
But I think like those Collecticon trips and everything save cost by splitting a room with somebody.
Yep.
If somebody's traveling, see if you can hitch a ride. Like, you're not gonna spend hardly any time in the hotel room, so cut it in half and share it with somebody else. Maybe 3 people and somebody sleeps on the couch. Like, it doesn't have to be just you in a room by itself. I think just saving the cost on the hotel is the biggest thing.
I like it.
But yeah, I say it all the time. We're all in the same arena, but we have different goals. We're playing by different rules, yada, yada, yada. So I personally go in with like I want X amount of sales. I usually have hit or exceeded, but I think it's a worthwhile thing to experience for everybody, because another angle of it, there's so many angles of it. One is just having fun, meeting people, networking, creating relationships like that. I mean, literally, there will be the presidents and CEOs of grading card companies. There will be a lot of large platforms that you're familiar with. They will have representatives at these things. There will be a lot of large streamers. There will be a lot of people that you can potentially create relationships to buy and source, or create relationships to sell outside of. And some of that can be done on Instagram and Discord, but doing it in person over doing it online, very different things, very higher level of like getting to know someone and establishing trust and things like that. So
that's another big thing that not a lot of people think about is building those relationships and getting to see people face to face.
Yep.
And then
go ahead. Go ahead. You
calculate like the math too. Like a lot of people that I've spoken to, and myself included, like I'll sell 10% of my inventory at Collecticon. So if you're bringing in $1,000, like you can expect to sell $200 or 1,000 max, because that's all you're bringing. So obviously, the more high value and the more variety you're bringing, you're going to sell a percentage of that.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, like, had I not met Nick multiple times in person, I probably wouldn't have been his 11th choice for podcast co-host. So it's a good thing I got that in-person time in. Otherwise, I mean, you know, this wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, and that applies to me too, like working for Nick, you know, and
yeah,
he would run to the bathroom and I was selling cards for him and taking the cash. No, like and this is legitimate. Like it's so easy if you don't trust or know the people around you, like they could easily pocket that money. Like Nick doesn't know what he has. And I'm like, I'm handling the cash and he's like, what'd you sell? I'm like, I don't remember. And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, oh, it was a Mr. Mime something. I think it's a lot of trust too, and like the connections you're making with people there that can lead opportunities later on. It's not just or anything.
If you didn't have that in-time person, one-on-one like time with Nick, you wouldn't have been his fourth choice to be his employee.
Oh, he asked me like right away, because I think when he offered me the job, like I turned it down because it was just a friendship position. Like he just wanted me to be his friend. He was going to pay me, and I said, "That's like I can just do it. Like don't worry about it."
Yeah, so I actually got turned down. I wasn't the one being not asked.
I don't know what led where Rusty said that hurts my pocket. That was like 4 minutes ago. I don't know what we were saying at the time, but potentially talking about just the aspects of vending, or I'm not sure. But sourcing too, like there's the sourcing side that you can see the cards, you can audit the cards condition like right there in person. Maybe you can even pay a little bit more above market to get a buy on a card you know is going to have a higher chance to 10, yada yada. Brad's just making up stories here. Come on, Brad. Definitely don't keep an amazing tabs on my inventory, historically speaking. Usually what I do is I take a couple pictures before and after, and like I roughly keep an idea of what I'm doing throughout the day. But yeah, there's definitely some trust there. Brandon said he splits a room with his wife. Unfortunately, it just ends up costing more. I'm going to Disney. I'm going to Disney to pregame Orlando Collecticon, so I hear you there on the additional cost of spouses at times. But then you have the helper when you're running the table too, so you got to take the pros with the cons. Not that I want to call that a con, but like
wow,
pros.
Flip that and send it to your wife.
you gotta take the financial pros with the financial cons. Like you gotta take the financial benefits with the financial, like spending a lot more money going on a little mini vacation for sure. And ordinary and necessary vacation. An ordinary and necessary vacation.
That new banner's coming in awfully handy.
Yeah. I have a bunch of comments started from the last little bit. We probably will try to wrap up in the next 15 to 30 minutes. We usually go till 4:30, but Nick and Walrus are going to try to party the night away. I do have a call I have to take at 4:30, so we're going to try to wrap up. We'll see where it goes, though. Brad says, the first time I met Dan, I roasted his fit, and next time I saw him, he had brand new shoes on. I still have the shoes that I got picked on for wearing, they're Avias, and the reason that I didn't wear them to the next Collecticon is because I walked through a bunch of mud, and like my gray shoes are just stained brown now, half brown though, so they're half brown, half gray. I've since updated to a new pair of Avias though. I know exactly what shoes that he's talking about, and they're ones that I bought at like the shoe department on clearance. The most uncomfortable things I ever wore. I regretted buying those stupid things. I forget what the hell they were, but those shoes were miserable. I missed my Avias, so I'm back in those now. I have a new pair of those. Thoughts on the state of financial ruin the homies will be in if Orlando doesn't print? I think Orlando historically has always printed good stuff priced well. I think everyone's done pretty fine, so I think we'll all be good. Brad says he's all in on Orlando, filing for bankruptcy if he breaks. So everyone, prayer hands up for Brad G Cards. Hopefully he sells so he doesn't have to go bankrupt.
How many sections do you guys have for that?
I think is there 3? I don't even know, because I'm not vending.
I was surprised New Jersey has so many sections.
Yeah, I'm not vending that either, but I will be there one of the days too. I'm doing Orlando and New Jersey similarly. I'm just trying to pull up the Orlando spreadsheet quick to see how many. So it looks like there's 2 sections. No, sorry, 2.5.
Oh, same as last year.
Or is it? No, it's a full 3 actually. So it's Swami, Retro. Well, one of them had like so many, but it's because Ray's doing 3 tables, Pokestone's doing 2 tables, Larry's doing 2 tables. But yeah, it looks like there's 3 full sections. Retro, Swami, and Ray are the section leaders. Looks like there's a couple people unpaid, so you better hit up your section leader and get paid. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. My abbreviated stay, and actually here's a comment I wanted to tie in with it too. I'm doing Disney, the KetchumAllCollectibles corporate retreat, which is an ordinary and necessary thing that corporations do. Just so happens to be taking place at Disney World. And then Sunday maybe 1 or 2ish, I'll be showing up. So I'll be at the last several hours at the convention. I'll be hanging out all Sunday night. I fly out at 6 a.m. though. My wife will definitely be probably retiring to the room and actually getting some sleep like a reasonable human being would. I am probably gonna degen, close the bars, hang out where everyone's hanging out at the Airbnb. I'm probably just gonna pull an all-nighter. That's actually what I did. I mentioned earlier Nashville. I just pulled an all-nighter, hung out with Zach, Instagram Live at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and caught my plane. I'll probably be doing similar in Orlando. We'll see how it goes. Getting older every year, but I'm still able to pull it off. A couple nights in a row of like 4 hours of sleep, and I'm fine enough. I'm not at 100%, but I'm fine enough. Are you guys rap guys?
I'm not even following this.
Walrus, are you a rap guy or no?
I'm not following it, but I think Hendrick's winning.
I don't do rap at all. I need a country battle between some people. I don't know.
No.
Is Conway Twitty beefing with anybody?
Yeah. Pokey Chef, weakest rap beef and diss songs ever. I saw a bunch of people talking about obviously YouTube, and I saw a bunch of stuff about it. I listened to 1 or 2 of them. I don't know anything about either of them. The only thing I know about Drake is he used to play the guy in the wheelchair on Degrassi. That's the only thing I know about him. And unfortunately, none of his lyrics referenced back to my nostalgic relationship with Drake. So they weren't for me. Let's see. People talking about my corporate retreat. Oh, we have some corporate pizza parties and stuff too, but you got to have a corporate retreat also.
Yes.
Do I carry any Buzzwoles in my inventory? Definitely. At every convention, I always have usually good stuff priced well, all the mainstream, all the top 25 popular species, but I always bring some random stuff too. Sometimes I hit, sometimes I miss, but every Collecticon there will be just some like completely random off the wall. You'd never guess it. Just somebody looking for like some like bottom 10 percentile popular Pokemon, just random species. It's always a thing.
So like Buzzwole.
Like Buzzwole, yeah.
I'm sorry, Shiny. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Don't hate me.
Yeah. Is that one of your eBay Live followers?
Yeah, Shiny's in the lives. Yep.
Do you have like a Buzzwole pile just to siphon one out like every live stream or something?
He always goes after him.
Yeah.
Watch your mouth.
I think with that though, we're fully caught up. We might as well wrap. Obviously, not tonight, but tomorrow night, go catch Nick Old School Pokemon on eBay Live if you haven't done it yet. Dan buys a $5 hot and ready. It calls it a corporate pizza party. Shaking my head. But yeah, go catch Nick tomorrow night live on eBay. I might be live on so I guess you have to dual screen it. Just be bidden with Nick muted, and then watch me and Java and Panga do our little game show thing. But definitely be buying stuff from Nick at the same time.
There we go.
And then yeah, next week Nick will be back at some point. My video on Monday, we did a lot of promotion for you. Let me promote a little bit. I did talk about all my auctions. I think I have 300 auctions ending. So like 50 are this Sunday. I think 50 are this Sunday, and then 250 are the final Sunday of eBay Vault. So my video Monday is just going to be kind of like recapping the whole consignment vault and then showing what I have for sale. I'm going to be hard on the Instagram, eBay affiliate link stories all week, trying to pump those numbers up for my consigners and for myself too. I think of the 250, almost 100 are mine, but then about 150 or a little more are consigners as well. So I'm YOLOing Mario Pikachu PSA 10. I have a 9 ending this weekend of a consigners. I'm YOLOing the 279 XYP. You know that Festa Pikachu, the full art with the Kanto starters. That card's like 9 or 10 grand. I think it's 279 XYP.
Man,
it came in that recent collection that I bought. I'm YOLOing it for the last hurrah of the eBay Vault.
Well, let's hope they go well. Let's hope they go well for you. I'm sure they will. Modern Pokemon, they'll do well. As long as
cards like that
in there, it'll do really good.
I bought them at 80%, so I think I'll be fine. I'd be surprised, and some will go below that, I'm sure. But overall, I think I'll do fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to go out with a bang. We'll see how it all goes. So definitely check out my auctions. Check out Nick's auctions tomorrow night. But that's everything we had for today. I'm really looking forward to the intro. Nick, I hope you bring that to Instagram or YouTube. Definitely people go support.
I'll have to upload it to YouTube because Instagram, it's like what is it, like 4 minutes? I don't know if I can.
Reels can be that long.
Oh, can they?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know what the limit is, but definitely more than 4 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, hopefully we see that on Instagram and on YouTube. But hopefully a lot of people will go and support and see it live in person on eBay Live too.
Yes.
For sure. But yeah, that's everything we've got for today. Go find Mr. Walrus. I think I don't think I linked it anywhere, but go find him places.
Oh.
He's got an Instagram and all that. Go find him on Old School Pokemon eBay. Go find him there. The most important place that he's
yeah, you should
bringing him.
My eBay store twice since Walrus is on.
Yeah.
That's listed there.
I think I do link yours first, so you've always been linked first. But yeah, with that, hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Hope you all have a great weekend too. We will catch you all later.
See you later.